Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here, and it's Edward Scissorhands, which is a Christmas movie in the last 30 minutes, so it technically counts. Let's talk about how much most of us love this movie today on Talking About Tapes.
Talking about tapes.
Oh, hello everyone.
Hi.
Hi, this is the Christmas episode.
Ugh. Way to just tell us this too, like 10 seconds ago.
Get a little closer to your mic.
Oh my goodness.
Well, yes, I thought it was just assumed it was the Christmas episode. I really thought I told you.
No,
You absolutely did
one
not
of us.
tell us.
Well, I thought it would be assumed because, on Christmas, you want to be with the people who matter the most to you, who you find very special. And, of course, I brought Kaylee back. Kaylee, it's so good to spend Christmas with you, someone I respect and whatnot. And, it's not just you. I wanted to spend Christmas with another special person, but Mint Salad couldn't make it, so I settled for Crystal after like 4 other people also couldn't make it. Hi, Crystal. How are you?
Hey, Tony. I'm good. How are you?
Edward Scissorhands. What a film. I actually really, really love this film.
I hate it.
Which is so
We're
weird.
going to start off. Yeah.
Still,
I
wow.
know.
Because
It's
you
so
mentioned
weird.
that before. I'm like, well, this is going to be a fun review. And you're
Yeah.
like, I haven't watched it in a while. I'm like, you know what? She's going to watch it and be like, I get it now.
No, I don't. I still don't. You guys are going to have to convince me.
Yeah. To me, this is like the perfect movie.
Yeah, you
Like-
got to.
Okay, I don't
Okay.
even think it's the perfect movie.
I think it the
got some
way
issues with the ending.
I have it. I'll go into it. I love this.
Yes, I was a big fan of Tim Burton growing up, as I'm sure we all were.
Yeah, also hate Tim Burton. I like some of his movies. I do.
We were talking before.
I really liked you before.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm
talking
so
before,
sorry
like-
that this is how we have to meet.
I know.
We were talking before, like we've done Burton movies in the past, but this year we did Batman Returns,
Yes.
we did Sleepy Hollow.
Yep.
He didn't direct it, but Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, and now we're doing this. I'm like, wow, we really had a Burton heavy year for some
Wait,
reason.
you did Nightmare Before Christmas?
Huh? Not me and you.
I said, you did? You?
Yeah, by the
You
time
did
this
it?
comes out, I'm sure I've shot the episode and it exists, or else I'm going to look like a real asshole.
That's one of my favorite movies.
Look, I don't have time for that. Hey everyone, Future Tony here. I hope you're all having a great Christmas day. Can you not get enough of me talking about Tim Burton? Well, guess what? I got news for you. On Patreon right now, you can listen to me and Adam Does Movies commentary track for Batman Returns. I promised a commentary track when we reviewed it in May, and I didn't get around to it. But it's here now, just in time for Christmas. You can listen to it right now. And do you need more Tim Burton? Well, guess what? Me and Mint Salad have a commentary track for Corpse Bride. That's so many commentary tracks. I also did ones for The Santa Claus and I'll Be Home for Christmas, starring Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Remember that one? Check those out right now at Patreon. Have a very Merry Christmas. So yeah, Edward Scissorhands. Again, big Burton fan growing up. Loved his movies. As I got older, I will agree with you. And I mentioned in the Batman episodes, a lot of his movies aren't the best.
That's true.
No, yeah.
Like the Batman movies don't have the best writing.
Oh, they're so good.
And we talked about the first one, how it was like basically the whole third act was like rewritten. It's like a whole thing. And then Batman Returns, I don't know what was going on with that.
Love it.
Love
it.
But yeah, they could be a little bit better, I guess. But I do love his style. He's more of a style guy. And
Yeah.
It's definitely very aesthetically pleasing.
Yes,
all
yes.
of his movies.
And when he does team up with like an actual like good writer and he really cares about the project, he does put out a good product. And I think that's what he did here, even though you disagree.
He cared so much about this film because it's kind of like his childhood, basically, like all about how it started, right? Like,
Yeah.
how he actually, he drew this photo or this picture just saying like this is how he felt as a kid being outcasted by his town and shit, and made a movie about it. So
Yeah.
this is like so close to his heart.
Yeah, and he wrote it with Caroline Thompson.
Yes.
They came up with the story. Warner Brothers turned this down They were like, what the no, we're not doing this. Do another Batman. I'm pretty sure they said, when are you doing another Batman? He's like,
Batman.
and he's like, I don't want to do another one. I want to do this.
Yeah.
So they sold it to 20th Century Fox. Oh yeah, they wanted him to either get to work on Batman 2 or Beetlejuice 2. Well, you got Batman 2, and hey, you guys got your wish. He's doing Beetlejuice 2, which I'm sure will be great.
I'm hoping. My fingers are crossed for that one.
What? You think another really late comedy sequel that's going to be about some character's daughter is going to be good?
I think
I'm
it
trying to
could
be positive.
be okay. I'm with Crystal on this one.
Trying to be
I think it's
positive.
possible.
Put it out there. Putting out the good vibes.
Nah, you're not getting me again. Actually, you've never got me. I still haven't seen Dumb and Dumber 2. I haven't seen the new Bill and Ted.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen whatever the new Jay and Silent Bob is.
So
or
we watch
Clerks.
all the like super...
I'm like, no, I'm done
No.
with these late comedy sequels that aren't
But
good.
how many do you make us watch? You make us watch so many, just like shitty sequels in general. Where I'm like, I don't want to
and
watch
I
this.
spare
You're like, then
you
you can't be in the episode.
these late, way too late comedy
No,
sequels.
you don't.
Yeah, I do. These particular genre.
The
I
ones
spare-
that you specifically haven't watched.
Did I make you
spare
watch
me
Clerks
from.
3? Did I make you watch Dumb and Dumber 2, which is Dumb
No,
and
because
Dumber
you
3?
haven't seen them and you're not looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah, why the fuck would I ever watch those?
I'm 100% going to make you watch Dumb and Dumber 2. I just want you to know that.
Is that yeah?
I want you to know that right now.
I'd rather do When Harry Met Lloyd before I do Dumb and Dumber 2, okay? Anyway, he wanted to do this, so they sold it to Fox, and Fox just gave him total creative control. They were like, look, he was on a hot streak. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, do you hate that one?
No, I love Pee-wee's.
Oh, thank
Amazing.
God.
Amazing.
I was about to look for a
That
sharp
is
object.
that is probably my favorite of his films.
Speaking of late sequels, I didn't make you do the third Pee-wee movie that went to Netflix years ago, because I also didn't watch that one.
I don't even think I knew that existed.
Oh, yeah, it existed.
Can we
I
take a
don't-
moment of silence for?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Anyway,
R.I.P.
what'd you call it? Beetlejuice? Is that one okay?
I like Beetlejuice.
Okay. Well,
I
you're
don't
excited
love
for
it.
the sequel,
Yeah.
so I guess Beetlejuice
Yeah.
is okay. And then, like, Batman, say what you will about the movie's, like, quality and how it aged. At the time, it, like, destroyed box office.
Yeah.
So I could see them being like, well, this guy knocked it out of the park 3 times. Let's just let him do whatever he wanted.
All right, so you like his earlier stuff, okay?
I also
okay.
like Sweeney Todd.
Okay, good. Okay, you're not the
If
worst
she was
person
here
I
right
ever
now,
met.
Johanna used to be super into the Sweeney Todd movie.
Really?
She loved that there was a song that had her name in it. I thought it was cringe.
But did she
Sweeney
like
Todd is one I don't enjoy that much.
I also was a big fan of the musical before. It came to the
Yeah,
movie.
me too. Have you
Yeah.
ever seen when Angela Lansbury was? Oh my God, one of the best things I've ever
Oh
seen.
my
in
gosh,
life.
she's phenomenal.
Yeah.
The girl from Murder, She Wrote?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Mrs. Potts.
Oh, from Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I haven't watched that movie since like the 90s, so
What's wrong
sorry I
with
You're
you?
didn't.
missing out. You
Yeah.
should rewatch that.
I agree.
Oh, I watched the live action one.
No,
No, that was the wrong choice.
Yeah, really.
I messed up there.
That was another 3-strike thing. It was like Beauty and the
Oh,
Beast remake.
no.
I forget what other one, and then I watched the
Did you watch Little Mermaid?
Jungle Book was okay. Jungle Book was like okay, and based off that, they're like, let's do all of them, and it's like, oh no, these are all bad. What was it? Aladdin is when I tapped out. I went, oh, no,
I
no.
won't watch that.
I still
watch
said
it.
like
No.
my favorite growing up was Lion King. Still have not watched that new Lion King. I'm
Nope.
like, I couldn't be bothered.
No.
So anyway, back to this. 20th Century Fox, they're like, do whatever you want. And he's like, okay. Let me see. You already did my note about how he felt like an outsider and
I
whatnot.
did. You're welcome.
The studio wanted Tom Cruise. They
I s-
really wanted Tim Burton to pick Tom Cruise.
What kind of fucking film would this be with Tom Cruise?
It would have been awful. Worse than it is.
90s Tom Cruise? Wait, do you also not like Tom Cruise?
I don't dislike Tom Cruise. I think that Johnny Depp is the correct person for the
Oh,
role.
absolutely.
I feel like every woman on the show hates Tom Cruise for some reason.
I don't hate him.
Yeah, no one
I
said
just
that
don't
we.
think
You
that he
don't
would-
love him?
I don't think that he would. I don't think that he would have had the same like weird. Like you have to have that like sorrow within you, and I don't think
Yeah,
that
but
Tom
I-
Cruise has that.
I see him
You
as
know
like a hyperactive almost.
You know what?
like-
90s Tom Cruise, probably not. But like, if
Which
this was like legend Tom Cruise, he could have pulled off like the weird outsider. If you think of Jack in Legend,
I guess.
I can see why they would want him to try Tom Cruise, but Tom
No.
Cruise apparently wanted like a happier ending.
Yeah, so many people were asking for this role.
Yeah, well, Tom Hanks
many,
turned
yeah.
it down
I'm
for
happy he did.
Bonfire of the Vanities. That worked out.
What a great choice.
I have it here. This is what I read. Apparently, Gary Oldman thought it was like the dumbest thing in the world, and then he like saw the movie and he was like, "Oh no, that was great."
Yeah.
And apparently, Jim Carrey was an option. The writer Caroline Thompson wanted John Cusack. I could see that. 90 John Cusack. I could see that.
I could see that. Yeah, that one I could see.
And then this is not counting Thief and the Cobbler. That doesn't count. This is Vincent Price's last movie.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
And
once again.
I'm sure I also said this in Nightmare Before Christmas, which definitely is an episode that exists. But in case something happened, it would have been Nightmare Before Christmas. He recorded lines for Santa, but it was like right after his wife died. And they were like, yeah, he wasn't. Like, he was, like, they tried and they're like, this isn't working. We got to get rid of it. So this is his official last movie. Thief and the Cobbler, he recorded, but that movie took what, like 40 years to get finished?
Yeah.
Like, he recorded his lines way before that. And then Danny Elfman returned to do the music on this.
Oh my God. So fucking good.
Yeah, this is right before Batman Returns, and then him and Tim had a falling out, which is why he didn't come back for what's called Ed Wood. And then this
That's
movie
a
has
great
this
movie. Do you like Ed Wood?
I do like Ed Wood. I like the good ones. I just don't like the bad ones.
Okay,
I'll go with that.
You made it seem like you hated. No,
Corpse Bride,
a lot of
meh.
us feel. Okay, real quick. What do you consider the bad ones?
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah,
I
that
agree.
fucking sucks.
That was horrible. I
Yeah,
don't even know.
no.
Name other Tim Burton movies. I don't like
Corpse
a lot.
Bride.
Yeah, Corpse Bride. I'm like half and half.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
little less than, like, I'm not the biggest fan of that
I'm
one,
sure
like,
it exists now, but I did do a commentary track with not Crystal.
I'm
Oh my God,
Crystal.
I'm
Hi.
so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mint. I didn't mean. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, Mint. I did it with mint salad. I was not into that
so
one.
much.
We got Mars Attacks.
Oh, that's a great
Yeah,
line.
it's all right.
Okay.
I like the pinball game.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
It's a great,
Big
great
Fish.
pinball
Big
game.
Fish.
Big Fish again. I feel like there's always something that I feel like for me is missing. I love the aesthetics. I think it's really beautiful. There's just something about the combinations of things that he does that for some reason just doesn't hit hard.
But
with me.
I agree. Like once you get past Big Fish, it's mostly missed. Charlie and Chocolate Factory.
Yep, didn't
bleh.
like it.
What you got? Dark Shadows. That
Didn't
sucked.
like it.
I did not see that one.
I never saw Big Eyes. I heard.
I saw Big Eyes. It
I
was
didn't.
again.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna rewatch that movie.
Yeah, I know you're a big Planet of the Apes fan, though. I do
Yeah.
have the Michael Clark Duncan figure if you want it. You love that Tim Burton movie. It's your
Very, very kind of you.
I don't even know what he's made lately. I know they slapped his name on Wednesday, but he only directed like a few episodes.
Yeah.
I think he did well with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway. So, like, okay. I don't think you hate Tim Burton. I think have the normal, besides this movie,
Yeah, you have the normal
have the
opinion.
normal opinion of Tim Burton.
Oh, I hate Nightmare Before Christmas.
Well, that's technically a Henry Selick
I
movie,
know,
so you get a
but
little wiggle room.
I
with
get
that.
a little bit of a pass, but I still think that many people associate it with him. But
Look, you know what?
I'm sorry.
I'm sure I said a lot of things about Nightmare fans in my episode, which
Yeah.
again definitely exists, I hope. Or I'm gonna fucking kill Johanna. It definitely exists.
I know a lot of people that don't like Nightmare Before Christmas, so
And I get why
understand
people
it.
wouldn't.
that was aggressive.
I like it. I still like it.
Okay.
The twins
Then why'd you
loved it.
say
I
so
played it for the
meanly?
twins around Halloween.
No.
They loved it. I got video of them like dancing to it. Yeah, so this also has the same cinematographer and production designer, Bo Welsh. I forget the cinematographer's name, who did Batman Returns, which is why Batman Returns feels more like a follow-up to this than it does Batman 1. Like, they look like completely different movies.
I want them in the same universe.
Oh, God. And then Stan Winston's team, not Stan Winston. People, because it was called Stan Winston Studios, people think, like, you know, it was his team. They were in charge of the mechanical
Yeah,
scissor
they
hands.
did great for that.
Yes. When did you first see this movie?
I just threw out as a child.
It was just always
It was
on.
just always on, yeah.
So you don't remember the first time? You never
I don't.
remember the first time you see movies.
There's probably a really great reason why I blocked out most of my childhood. So, are you going to play therapist today? Didn't think so. No, I have not forgiven my father.
Okay. Kaylee, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you trans? People really want to know.
Usually only people only ask me that if they want to see me naked, and no, I am not doing nudes. So
Oh. Well,
Damn it.
there you go, guys. But the other question I want to ask is, when did you first see Edward? I told you I was going to blindside you with that one.
I had no good answer to it either.
You didn't prep?
No, I did
great-
prep. I just got freaked out. No,
That was a great
Oh, wait, my
answer.
third question is, do you really have bigger hands than me? Someone said
know.
that.
No.
Oh, fuck you guys. Fuck all of
I
you
think Tony
guys.
just has tiny hands.
and my neck is not big, and my
Oh, I think you're stunning.
I look like a normal human
You know what? I'm fine with
without
people.
any scissor hands.
I'm fine with people saying you look trans. I'm fine with that. But when they were like, "Oh, she's more masculine than Tony," I was like, "All right, hold on."
Yeah, that's not hard to do.
My jaw is more masculine than yours is one of the other ones that I saw.
I think both of ours. Yeah, we have a more
Okay,
masculine
okay.
like facial structure.
Okay, Crystal with a deeper voice. When was the first time you saw this movie?
Let's see. I don't actually remember. I know I was way older than I think a lot of people were when they saw it. I was probably like 14 or 15. I remember putting it off because I was actually kind of freaked out by it. I am kind of a wuss despite how much I love horror.
Yeah.
So I just kind of had put it off and put it off and put it off and then finally saw it, I don't know, 14, 15, probably rented it.
Yeah. And you were like, "This sucks."
Yeah, I really, really disliked it when I first saw it. I was like, I don't get it. I don't think that I didn't like the aesthetic. I didn't really like the idea of doing like the very gothic, like horror sort of elements combined with like the suburban, beautiful 1960s perfection. That just wasn't something that worked for me.
Oh.
I know.
I mean, I totally get it.
Wait, I want to ask about what kind of movies were you into like at that age? Like, was there like a different
Last
type of
House on the
genre?
Left?
That's a good, yeah. I
Like-
think that I was at that point so into horror, and I think I almost felt like I was too cool for school at
Got
that
you.
point.
So you thought it was more on the cheesier side.
Yeah, like
got you.
And I
that
didn't
makes
really.
sense.
I don't think that I really understood the idea or cared about the idea of like having a message, especially at that point. Like I was just like, I want to see a fun movie that is fun for me.
That makes sense. Yeah.
gotcha.
So
I understand now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember when I was younger, I didn't see it till a little, like, when I was, like, a teenager, probably 11 or 12. But I remember seeing, like, occasionally there would be some kind of, like, TV program that was talking about movies, and I would see, like, clips from this movie. And it always, like, intrigued me. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, and I got, like, the whole Tim Burton thing, because I could tell, like, by the visuals, like, his suit reminds me of, like, Catwoman's kind of suit with, like, the weird leather
does.
stuff. So always felt like a movie I would be into. And then, yeah, maybe I was, like, 10 or 11. It would play it on like HBO and I watched it and I'm like, oh my God, I love this movie and I relate to the main character. Because I was also a weird fucking kid that was bizarre. And I mean, I had friends, but most people were like, oh, those are the weird kids over there. And, you know, I also liked girls that wanted nothing to do with me and thought I was creepy. And I was like, wow, this movie. I think you have to be like an undateable loser dude to really appreciate this film. Maybe that's why you guys couldn't connect to it.
Tony, I heard that you were better with the ladies when you were younger than now. So I have a lot of...
No. So I started off really, really bad. And then in college, it got too many. It was bad. It was bad in a different way. I got what I wanted, and I got it way too much. It's like the monkey's
pimp,
paw.
sorry.
I'm like, I
I
want to
even
date
asked
girls, and it's like,
this.
okay, here are the worst ones. I'm like, oh, who's this Johanna? Oh no, I don't want this. I
Johanna
don't want
was
this.
in high school.
No, I met her, and we didn't start dating in college, but I met her
Oh, I
in
thought
high
you guys
school.
dated in high school.
Yeah, and then I found her a husband, and I never got a thank you. And then now we've
Beautiful
circled back
speeches.
to like the loser who can't get a date. I'm like, wow, really ended up full circle. And then I put
Way to
this
go.
movie on the other night, and I'm like, I relate to this character all over again. I love it. It's perfect. I'm gonna live in well, no, I can't afford a house in this market, but if I did have one, it'd be on the top of a hill.
In
and
a
I'd be
castle?
making. Yeah,
Holy
and I'd be
fuck.
making ice sculptures. They wouldn't
sounds
look good.
amazing.
They wouldn't look good. They'd be all lopsided.
if you got a castle, girls would be into you again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Wait, do you know who lives in a gigantic gothic castle?
Who?
Crispin Glover.
Are you serious?
I
Yeah,
heard
in
about
Czech
that, yeah.
Republic
What the
with
fuck?
peacocks. I'm in love with him. And I would like to live in his castle with him.
I am
he
now
likes
also
big
in love with
titty
him.
goth girls.
Who could blame him?
Yeah, he's real into the big titty goth girls.
Yeah.
Love it.
So anyway, anyway, enough about big titty goth girls.
And Crispin Glover.
Duh.
Okay,
I love you.
so yeah, very influential film. We should probably talk about it scene by scene now. But first, Kaylee, will you read the back of the DVD?
Oh boy. I'm good at reading out loud.
Are you really?
Yeah, no, I think that you.
Shit! I was gonna make. I was assuming you'd be good. I was gonna rub it in Chris. Yeah, go ahead. Read it.
You got two of us.
Once upon a time, in a castle high on a hill, lived an inventor whose greatest creation was named Edward. Although Edward had an irresistible charm, he wasn't quite perfect. The inventor's sudden death left him unfinished, with sharp shears of metal for hands. Edward lived alone in the darkness until one day a kind Avon lady took him home to live with her family. So began Edward's fantastical adventures in a pastel paradise known as Suburbia. From Tim Burton comes an unforgettable fairy tale starring Johnny Depp, Winona Ryder, Diane Wiest, and Vincent Price as the inventor. 1990, approximately 105 minutes. Color.
It's a short movie.
That was beautiful.
It is a short movie, which is nice about it. That's one of the things I liked about it.
To me, my attention span like dies after like an hour and 10.
Oh, good.
Like that's all I
So all movies.
yeah, kind
I'm gonna keep that in mind when I start planning who's in who's what episode. I'm like, all right, well, Crystal's not gonna watch this one.
Yeah, I mean, I watched.
I'm glad I left you out of the King Kong episode last year.
I mean, literally, what we watched, Justice. Was it Justice? Did we watch that one together? We watched something that was like super fucking long. That was like 3.5 hours.
I didn't watch Justice League with you. No. You probably watched Justice League. I didn't watch it with you though.
You did it?
I don't know.
watched
The Flash was.
No,
long.
we watched something. It was like an hour and like it was something really long. And I was like,
I
oh,
don't remember. Anyway.
of course you don't.
Anyway. Movie starts with great opening title sequence. Am I allowed to like the title sequence?
I hated it, but
Why do you hate the title sequence?
I don't know. I mean, it was fine.
I miss just title sequences in general.
Yeah.
I thought Tim Burton had like pretty good ones throughout the 90s and whatnot. I like this because it gives you like enough information. Like you're seeing the castle, you're seeing the inventions, you're seeing the hands and whatnot. It's all stuff you're going to see later and you'd be like, oh, that's what that was hitting too.
It sets the tone really well.
And Danny Elfman is like fucking killing it on the score.
Danny Elfman's incredible.
Yes.
Absolutely, 110%.
It's so weird they had like fightings over Batman Returns because that score is also really good.
Yes.
But no, he's like nailing it here, and it's just eases us into this weird world. We get Winona Ryder in obvious makeup, looking at an obvious model.
Yeah.
Look, the model looks good for most of it, and the matte paintings look good, but the very first one that you see, you're like, that is 5 feet away from her.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it looks good every other time, but it's just like, it just sucks that like the introduction to it is like, oh, that's Monty Python's clearly a model.
Oh.
Her daughter asks her where snow comes from. And since, you know, her lady brains doesn't understand science, she makes up some goddamn story about a robot guy. Instead of just being like, well, you know, the water is in the atmosphere and it freezes and falls. She's like, well, let me tell you the story about a guy. And also, I'm the main character of the story.
It
So
sums
do
up
you-
at the end.
Huh?
It makes sense. So at the end,
I know, it makes sense at the
go
end.
fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. All right. Fucking hate right in the beginning. Oh, where's snow?
I
come
guess
from?
she's correct on where the snow comes from in this town.
Yeah.
So is this a fairy tale that she's telling, though, or is this a real story?
I think we're at the end, we're supposed to assume that it is a real story.
Mm-hmm.
But in the beginning, you're not quite sure. Because you're supposed to not know it's Winona Ryder, but it's very obviously Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, she's telling all of this to her granddaughter. I have some questions about parts she included in this story that she thought was appropriate to tell a granddaughter.
Yes.
So yeah, she remembers her past. And she gives like a brief background on Edward Scissorhands. She's like, yeah, an inventor made this man, like you said on the back of the box, but he died before he could finish him, and he just lived up there, and he was a real fucking loser. And then we go back into the past, and we see Diane Wiest as the Avon lady. What else is Diane? What is she known for?
She's brain stopped. Oh. Yeah, Bullets Over Broadway. The Birdcage.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great.
That was after this,
Footloose.
She was in Footloose?
Yup.
Wait, I like
Who was she in
Footloose.
Footloose?
I don't remember, but I like Footloose.
She was in The Lost Boys.
Okay.
Practical Magic, which is a oh, we have to do Practical Magic.
I still can't
It's
believe you didn't
so
watch
good.
that until like 2 years ago. I'm like,
I
how
am
the fuck
very
did you
upset
miss
with
that
it.
one?
I Am Sam. There's a lot of fucking
Okay.
movies.
My
She's great.
knowledge of the one thing I think of Diane Wiest the most is a movie she's not even in. Have you ever seen The 10 with Paul Rudd?
No.
It's a anthology comedy based off the 10 Commandments. And at one point, like Paul Rudd's like the narrator. At one point, he like breaks up with his wife, and then he like bumps into her years later. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm actually married to Diane Wiest now." He like just pulls it out of nowhere. He's like, "Oh, I loved her in Bullets Over Broadway." Like, there's this whole subplot about Diane Wiest, but she's not in the movie. You never see her. That's where my mind goes. But yeah, she's the Avon lady, and she's trying to sell makeup to like her neighbors, and she's doing the whole spiel, and like no one's buying it.
Does anyone, you guys ever like actually have like experience with Avon ladies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Sick.
so pushy.
But I remember my mom getting a few of them, and I actually really like the products.
Yeah, me
but
too.
I haven't
hated
seen
to admit
though.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, it's Avon.
Yeah.
But like it was, I haven't seen any of it from Avon. Does Avon still exist?
I don't know.
I'm sure they exist. As
I know
like
that there's other companies that do similar things now, but I don't know that I've
Oh,
seen
yeah,
Avon for like.
in college, the house I lived in, the girls got visited by some Mary Kay
Yes.
girl.
Mary
and they
Kay
tried to
was
start
Mary
that.
Kay,
I still see
definitely.
cars with like Mary Kay on the back, and it's like, if you want Mary Kay products, and I was like,
Oh my
no.
god, my roommate who was a dude. He like signed up because the girl was cute, so he like wanted to
Nice.
impress her.
Noise.
And he's like, "Fuck, you're gonna sell all this shit."
I love it.
That's funny.
Oh no, I'd rather sell makeup than knives. Or
Oh
vacuum
god,
Yeah.
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear that? There is a Christmas caroler in the store.
Fa la 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 la. Hey everybody, I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And my biggest wish for you is that you all get a Turbo Man nestled safely under your tree. Nestled safely under your tree. Bye guys.
Her neighbors aren't buying it. There's the one girl that tests all the samples and then just doesn't use it. It's like, you
She's
don't-
like, I don't have any money.
And then Diane Wiest comes up with a great idea. That giant Gothic mansion on top of the hill that all the plants are dead. Clearly, someone there needs makeup. I'm gonna go up there. I don't know
Not
where
all
she
the
gets
plants
that
are
idea.
Dead.
Huh?
Obviously, not all the. I guess you can't see that the.
She
some of the
can't
plants
see
are dead.
those.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like, there could be a princess stowed away in a dark.
it is like this
castle.
big
That needs
eyesore in the
makeup.
middle of the.
Exactly.
That really needs
if I
makeup.
was stuck in a castle,
You would want somebody.
I would
bringing
want
you-
some makeup. Yeah.
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 But I'm thinking like this is a movie that can only exist in a fairy tale because it's like there's no way like someone would have bought in that place or cleaned it up or something.
It was huge.
It was
I loved it.
gigantic. What did that inventor invent that made him so much money to afford that thing? So yeah, she
Toast.
goes up to the huh?
I was just thinking the most random thing. I was like, you invented toast.
Oh,
I don't know.
I have a complaint about his inventions when we actually see them in while they're working.
Okay.
But yeah, she goes up there. Would you guys go to the top of the castle to sell Avon products?
I would just go up there.
I would knock on the door, but I would not enter without
No.
permission and then walk up the staircase and
I was gonna
go
say,
into somebody's
yeah.
house.
Once you entered and saw that there were like sheets on everything and cobwebs everywhere, you wouldn't be like, someone must be living here and being
Yeah,
very
no.
active.
Allow me to continue exploring.
What was it? Oh, thank God for aerobics or something.
Yeah,
I was like,
Aerobics
that's kinda
classes.
funny.
I do like when she opens the gate and it is like a beautiful garden.
Oh, it's stunning.
Yeah, because I don't know if he can like open the gate probably, so he just
Yeah.
sits in the
I
garden
didn't
just
even think
trimming
about that.
everything.
He literally just can't get out.
Well, because
That's funny.
they live in like a warm climate. Like they're watering their grass and no one has been there, so that's why everything's
hasn't
dead on
s-
the mountain except for like his area, I guess.
And it's never snowed.
And it doesn't snow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she looks around and then she finds him in the attic. There's a big hole in this. Again, if you went up the stairs and saw a giant hole in the ceiling, you probably would be like, oh wow, I probably shouldn't go into this room. Something might collapse on
So
me.
does it mean
you
doesn't-
wouldn't go,
Yeah.
clearly someone in here needs makeup.
Actually, yeah, no, I'd be like, yeah, this is where, the person with makeup would probably be. Needs makeup there.
I mean, probably nobody has ever offered anybody who
I
lives their
know,
makeup before, so that
clearly.
means it's an untapped market. Beautiful.
Exactly.
On tap market,
She's gone. Yeah,
the
she's
attic
onto
in the old
something.
mansion
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
top of the
Yeah.
hill.
I think
She's an innovator.
trendsetter.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know. But I'm guessing it doesn't rain there because wouldn't you think everything would be super moldy?
Yeah,
that was
I
my
guess it-
first thought. I was like, that's got to be gross in there. I was like,
Rain
no.
is probably rare there. I do like his little fireplace with all the magazines. So he's still getting magazines delivered and newspapers delivered.
It was like one of those inspiration boards.
Yeah, because he has like because the one it's like blind kid learns
Yeah,
to
vision
read.
Listen,
Yeah.
he's beyond his time, okay? He's great with cutting. He's like vision board galore.
He
I
also-
don't know. It looks like he's got phenomenal eye makeup. Like the eyeshadow at the bottom. No, it's supposed to be part of his skin. I think he was onto something.
Well, yeah. She then finds him in the corner, and I like at first she's like, "Oh shit, I fucked up. I probably shouldn't have gone in the creepy attic in the creepy castle at the top of the creepy hill. I'm going to be murdered." Because he comes out with like the Scissorhands, and then he's like, "No, wait, I'm sad."
Go.
And of course, instead of just being like, "Oh, I don't trust that for a second," she's like, "Oh, he's sad. I'll stay around."
She's just, I love her and the character that she plays.
I actually like the whole family and how just like
Oh
you
my
wouldn't
gosh.
expect them. They're just like super accepting for some reason.
But she's so, like, she has just this like pure heart, and it just shows throughout this entire movie. Like, never does it you ever feel like she's faking it or it doesn't feel forced either. Like in a lot of movies, these characters feel extraordinarily forced.
Yeah.
This one, it just feels so natural for her.
How do you feel about her?
I liked her as a character, actually. I think that there's some interesting things that we'll kind of probably talk about as we go on a little bit. I think that she there's like a little bit of an ethical dilemma that happens with her throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Where she is kind of trying to figure out like to what extent they have exploited Edward.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like she's purposely exploiting him. Like,
No.
I think she's on a journey, and
Yeah.
I like the fact that she's on a journey as opposed to having a mean bone in her body.
yeah.
Yeah.
She does like the
wants to
attention
feel
she gets
involved.
going forward, but
Yeah.
she's also genuinely trying to help him also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the whole family is really.
Yeah.
They're actually more accepting than the neighbors in the
Fuck those
area.
neighbors.
But yeah, she sees like the Scissorhand stuff, and her first thought, well, she asks if he's alone. He mentions that his
Yeah.
dad didn't wake up. And like, if
And then why did we not take the body out of the castle?
I
His
assume
dad is just dead in there?
No, it
And
had
they're
to.
like, let's go.
Edward had to have moved it at some point because in the flashback he dies in that big room and he's
Yeah.
not there.
Yeah.
So Edward moved it, or
Where is it?
someone checked
Buried
on the
it?
inventor and then took the body, and Ed was hiding. I don't know.
He cut up the ground and he put him in there.
I don't know. We didn't see the rest of the castle. He probably has like an incinerator invention that's like a dancing clown that
I
shoots
don't
fireballs.
think Edward would really know that one. Edward's adorable, but he's not too bright.
Yeah.
He's not too
I
bright.
assume someone took the body and Edward was just hiding because he's hiding from her in the beginning. So, but yeah, I like she sees him, and like if I was there, I'd be like, oh my God, how do you live? How do you work? Like,
do you
are you
pee?
like a
Wipe your
robot?
butt.
I'm
Yeah.
like, how do you, and then she's like, I gotta fix those scars on your face. Like, lady, that's the,
But like
okay.
also when you see the girls with the super long nails,
Yeah.
you don't ask those questions like how do you wipe your ass? Like it's like almost
They're
very
not
normal.
robot people. I don't care about that.
Like how do you change?
I don't
I'm
think
curious.
Crystal, I
Are
don't
they
think he
have, like, the
shits. He
gems
doesn't
on
have
them?
orifices. He's a big metal thing that's
But he
strapped
eats.
in.
No, he eats. We watch
That
him
brings
eat.
up a lot of questions
Yeah.
then. Does he,
He gets
unbuckle
drunk.
those things
He
and shit?
literally gets drunk.
That's true. He does get
So he
I
has a
thought that was
liver.
kind of a malfunction.
I can
I
actually
thought
go with
the
that,
drunkenness, I was like, that's a malfunction. But he does eat food, so he must
Yeah.
expel food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he unstraps a million goddamn
like, it just
BDSM
drops.
straps. and just pours it out. But yeah, she tries to fix his face. She's like, just come home with me. She just brings this guy home.
I love it.
And you say you don't like the gothic imagery mixing with the pastels. I kind of like. He looks so out of place in this. I kind of like the clashing of the two styles.
That shows a lot from how Tim Burton felt as a child. Like
Yeah.
as the suburban, the cookie cutter, because that is my worst nightmare to live in a town like that, where all the houses look the same and that close. Like, no, put me in the wood. My whole goal is to live somewhere where I can walk outside naked and no one will ever see me. Seriously, that's my goal.
My goal is to
And-
live wherever the opposite of that is. Holy shit.
Good. Far away from me, motherfucker. That's what I want.
When you move
But
there, please don't give me the address. I don't want to accidentally.
I
drive
will
by.
give you my address
Don't
where I
wanna
live
accidentally-
now, fucker.
Ah!
You're not allowed.
Oh, I'm lost in the woods selling Avon products. Who lives there? Ah, it's Crystal. Ah!
It's just me and I'm surrounded by all these farm animals. Like the fucking naked, I'm like the hippie Snow White. I would love that.
You're making your own man lead with dildo hands. By the way, I believe there are several
There
Edward
are.
penis hand movies. So
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
yeah.
But no, I like the clashing of this because he is super out of place in this.
I can make an argument for it. Like, rewatching this movie now as an adult, I understand why that is valuable and why it puts him out of place. I still don't like it. I don't have a good reason for not liking it. Like, I get it. I think it's, nice, but I just don't.
I do like the gags they do with the scissors sometimes. Like when he goes to point and like the blade goes right across. She's like, He's like, oh, I'm sorry. The little kid on the slip and slide. That was Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys.
Oh, yeah,
apparently.
that's right.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, I read it on the internet. Probably bullshit, but that apparently is a thing. I don't know why they would lie about that.
Oh, I also have to say R.I.P., but that's Aaron Carter.
No, Aaron Carter died.
Ooh, I met him. He's an interesting.
Huh?
I was like, I met him. He was an interesting man. Oof. R.I.P.
And then he died after meeting you. I'm just putting the pieces together. I
have that impression on me.
I do like the nosy neighbors. By the way, so there's a few neighbors. There's the fat one, played by a girl's name I can't pronounce, Conchita something. There's the religious one, played by Olan Jones, who was the one diner lady from an episode of Seinfeld. Huh. And she was in a good X-Files episode. She was in the...
Which one?
Fuck, I think she was in like one of the Demon Witch ones. I forget.
There's a lot of those.
There was one where like someone like vomits up like pins or something. I think she might have been in that one. Anyway, it's a cool name.
Strangely, that feels like a lot of
It is.
episodes. Yeah.
And then there's the horny one.
Oh my gosh, you can.
Who is this whole movie? Her goal is just to cuck her husband. She's trying to sleep with like the what you call it, the
repairman.
Yeah, the repairman.
That's how the movie starts out. And
Yeah.
again, that's like super beginning of the story. So again, why is Winona Ryder telling her granddaughter that portion of the story?
But yeah, the girl's just like, where's the snow come from? She's like, okay, so there was this fucking cougar that just wanted to get fucking railed by a repairman because she couldn't stand her husband. The little girl's sitting there like, what? Wait, snow?
No?
Wait, listen. Okay, so the girl's gonna learn eventually. Let it be by grandma. Okay. Feels a little more
I'm just saying, when little kids ask me questions, I don't go on these large elaborate stories with subplots about horny
Maybe you
housewives.
should, okay? Maybe you should. Maybe the world would be a better place if we knew a little bit younger.
Okay.
We wouldn't turn out as horny cougar. We'd be like, we know that.
When I asked my grandfather what stars were in the sky, he didn't have subplots about horny housewives. I'm just saying. He told me what they really were.
You didn't have so my grandparents, my mom's mom told me she wasn't dead yet. Oh, she's dead now. Wasn't dead yet because God didn't want her in hell. Was afraid she was going to take over. So that's the kind of shit.
When I was a
it
young
great.
kid,
Yeah.
Loved
when I
it.
was a
She
young
used bottles to
kid,
play with.
That's great.
my grandmother did a mathematical equation and predicted when she was going to die based off other people's deaths. And she should have been dead since 2005, and she's still kicking. So it's so annoying. I bring that up all the time. I'm like, you know what? You were supposed to die like 15 years ago.
Maybe she's like looking to get laid more. Like maybe that's why she's still alive.
No. Anyway.
Just flat
You're
no.
like, no.
No.
She better be alive by the time this episode gets out.
Grandma.
Yeah. So like the horny one is just like, I'll be right there. Like she really needs to see this guy. But yeah, as soon as they see, I mean, okay, I know they're supposed to be nosy and whatnot, but if like a fucking BDSM leather daddy with knives were to walk out of my neighbor's car, I'd probably be like, hey, does anyone know what the fuck that is? Like it's not like it's just a goth kid. It's like, oh my God, I think she's there with like a horny murderer. What's going on?
They didn't see that. They say in the movie.
Well, no,
that
the girl says, she's like, oh, you looked really pale. He's
it
kind of
looked like a pale,
Yeah.
like sure, but they didn't see the scissors or the leather or anything. They just said, "Oh, it looked like a pale guy."
A weird guy.
Yeah, I do like the one girl is just like, they're driving by and she like drops the thing and like runs to go tell someone. It's like, okay, how bored are you ladies?
Oh, they're bored as.
They are bored
Yeah,
as
I think that's part of the suburbia fear.
Yeah.
You know?
It did remind me of my old neighborhood. Like the old ladies would like talk to my mom and just
Gossiping,
gossip
yeah.
constantly.
That's all they have. Yeah, they don't have jobs. They don't do shit.
Well, Peg has a job.
Oh yeah,
She's the
that's
Avon lady.
Maybe that's what makes her so special. She's the only one in that fucking disgusting town that has a fucking job, and a career, and a goal, and a dream.
He walks into the house and he thinks it's the most amazing thing ever because he has only seen stone covered in cobwebs his entire life. So he's like, oh my God, what is this carpet? What the fuck? Lights? Then he sees the pictures of the family, and he sees Winona Ryder, and he's like, that's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my entire life.
Those photos aren't even that great of her. Like, she's so much, like, just prettier throughout the movie. Those photos.
Yeah,
are
the
not-
junior prom picture
like,
is very awkward.
It's awkward.
the prom and the just the senior picture, and I was like,
It's better than my senior picture. I didn't realize it was picture day. My hair looks like shit. I'm not, like, shaving properly.
like normal. Hey, look, once again, full circle.
Is there a Christmas star I can wish to get mint salad here instead of Crystal? People are leaving don't bring mint salad back comments again. I'm like, guys, you know how this worked out the last time. I just put her in more stuff.
Yes.
Don't fucking
All
test
hail
me.
mint salad.
There's two things you don't want to test me with. Another Boys Month and the mint salad episodes. I will pull the trigger on fucking both. Mint salad will be the only one allowed on Boys Month. So Edward meets Bill, played by the late Alan Arkin, who died this year at the age of 89, is what I read.
You're really smart,
when it
Tony.
happened. Yes.
Super smart.
I'm
How'd you
so
get so
full of
smart?
knowledge. And Kevin, their younger son. Kim is not there. She's like in a trip in the mountains, getting railed by Anthony Michael Hall.
You really love to say how much people get railed. Like, that's
You know what?
so
I kept
aggressive.
writing it in my notes, and I'm just like, it's gonna be
Railed.
my thing for the episode. It's like people are getting railed.
It's a pretty horny movie.
It really is.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But yeah, I like that Bill, instead of just being like, what the fuck, woman? Why did you bring a robot man with knives into my house? You're crazy. I want a divorce. Instead, he's like real go with the flow.
He is. He just accepts it. It's like, okay.
Yeah, he's like, oh, well, he's also a little bit oblivious in this movie. But he's like, oh, yeah, Ed, so what's it like living up there? You can see the ocean, probably.
Ed.
Yeah, he keeps calling him Ed, and the whole time
What's up,
she's like, Edward. One question I have. At no point do they go, so Ed, do you like own that mansion? Can we move there? Like I would be like, are you like, do you have the deeds? Because like, it'd be nicer to live up there away from these assholes.
He doesn't really, he barely knows his name. You think he
true.
understands? Like later in the film where like the loans, it's like, I don't think
Yeah.
he.
But like
No.
Bill genuinely also tries to help him out the entire
He is
movie
so
and actually connect with him, which I thought was nice. I love the shot of all the men leaving their houses at the same time. In the pastel. I think that was a real town, and I think they like painted those houses just for the movie.
Tampa area, I think it was
Yeah.
filmed in.
We were in Tampa.
What?
We should have drove by there. Instead, we went to like a drag burlesque show.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, wait, were you with me? I was like, yeah, you were. I legit almost forgot.
We went to Coyote Ugly, and we're not going to talk
Yes.
about that. We're not.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, it was fun for you.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway,
He got one of the shot specials and he didn't have fun. I had fun. He did not have
they're
fun.
a little meaner to guys there than they are the women.
I don't
That's
know.
what
I
learned.
got
It's like
whipped pretty
the-
hard. Well, she noticed I didn't react. And like, she was like, I'm going to make this bitch react. And I was like, oh, okay. This is getting
The less
like,
we know
little-
of Coyote Ugly, the better.
It was great.
So yeah, I think they painted all those houses and then like painted them back afterwards. I like the one that's like got the bug nest, the bug tent over it.
Oh yeah.
In my mind, I want to think that was just some neighbor that's like, you're not painting my house green, and they're like, let's just put a fucking tent over that guy's house.
I do like in that scene the cars being all different colors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It feels very much like you are playing with a model town.
yes, and it also helps. Like with the whole fantasy aspect, like, oh, this isn't like a real, this is like what you would imagine this town to look like.
And just
But the real
structure.
world does clash a little bit with it. We'll get to that. When they get to like the mall area, Peg is still trying to fix Ed's face.
She's trying so hard.
This is the I Can Fix Him the movie. And she's like I do like when she's mixing the makeup and it's just too clumpy. And she's like fucking hitting him in the head with
I
it.
hate this stuff.
It's like, darn this stuff. And then Bill is trying to trim his hedges, but he keeps getting distracted by the game. And then it turns out Ed just turns the one hedge into a goddamn dinosaur. None of the hedges make sense, by the way. They're like, I'm just sitting there and I'm like, Okay, I've seen some hedge sculptures, but this can't be real. Also, how did he get the top?
Yeah, it goes. The hedge is like apparently taller from before he started and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. I do think it's taller than it was. But
it's
like,
way taller.
How did he reach the top to make the
Listen.
T-Rex head?
That's where
Magic.
you want to suspend your disbelief. Like that's the point.
You know,
of
it's
it.
fine. But then later
Not the
he's
entire fucking character.
later he's using a ladder, and I'm like, okay, does he need the ladder or not? I'm confused.
Maybe he just wasn't feeling good that day and couldn't jump as high. All right, let it be. Movie magic.
I would like to see Ed jumping though.
Well, like, look how fast he uses his goddamn fingers and stuff like that, and just like
Oh, I forgot to
within
mention.
30 seconds.
Oh God, I skipped over it. When he has to get dressed and he figures out what a waterbed is.
Oh, I love that.
I love the reaction of like when the bed is going up and down and he just goes, he like rocks along with it, thinking that's something he needs to do.
I love any movie with a waterbed. There's been a lot of them where they play
Nightmare on
around
Elm
with
Street
it.
4.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Like things like that. Don't look at me like I was.
What
fucking
other
on two
movies with
heads.
waterbeds are there? Do you know any, Kaylee?
Licorice Pizza.
I didn't see that movie.
See that.
There's a huge waterbed.
Isn't that movie about an older woman grooming an underage
It
kid?
sure is.
Why didn't anyone complain about that when it came out?
A lot of people complained about that.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, a lot of people complained about that.
Wow. I was going to go see that movie and I found out that's what it was about.
There's waterbeds play a big role in the
Oh.
subplot of that movie.
Trying to think of another movie that has a waterbed.
There's a waterbed. It's not just like, oh, look, sitting on a waterbed. No, it's played out.
Do people still have waterbeds?
A friend of mine in high school had one.
Yeah, I don't think I've known anybody since
Yeah.
high school.
No.
I tried it out. I'm like, would I like this? And I like laid on it. I'm like, I don't like this at all. I kind of hate this, to be honest.
I guess he's sick.
Huh?
I guess he's just like rocking back. I would legit get motion sickness. Like, nah, I'm good.
So yeah, he starts trimming all the hedges. He makes like the family and everything. And I do like Alan Arkin. It's just like, well, I'm done working for the day. He like
I
pulls
love
the
it.
TV outside and he's just relaxing. I'm like, oh, that's pretty awesome.
I think he does this role so well. I think he's a really great actor in this.
I like
because
Alan Arkin.
as melancholy, like as chill as he is throughout this entire thing, it still comes off that he cares
Mm-hmm.
and like very fatherly. Because that could have been played so poorly into just a
Yeah.
not caring father. He does it amazing. I think every actor in this is.
Do you agree?
I actually do. Although I do think that his
You're gonna be like, I hate Alan.
no, I like him. I do think that everybody performed their roles really, really wonderfully.
Oh, okay.
Wow, he's just trying to dig at you and be like, "Hey, let's get some people to really fucking hate you."
I know.
You got
That's
too
his
many.
goal.
You got too many positive comments out the gate.
All of the comments are about me being trans. That's literally
Those
the
are
only comments.
are
Okay,
those negative?
I get I get tons of hate comments. Nah. Yeah.
But those could be positive.
Yeah,
I think
I
those
know, it's
guys
true.
just want to know.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we get negative comments like from day one. It's not fair. It's not fair.
I get a lot of fucking hate.
I can start asking if you're trans.
We know that. If he would look so much better.
Anyway, so Olan Jones shows up. What's her name in the movie? Esmeralda, I think. She's like
I
the
have no idea.
she's like the religious one.
Yeah.
And I like that she comes over and she's just like, he's the devil. Ah.
Yeah.
I do like when she's like refers to them as sheep, and Edward, who feels autistic in this, by the way, like doesn't understand. He's just like,
Can't you, if you poor sheep strayed so far from the path?
We're not sheep.
Don't come near me.
and I think she's a little jealous because she's also like an outsider, but like no one likes her because she's creepy.
But she also almost feels that she has like an autistic spectrum a little bit by the way she speaks and her mannerisms. She's
So-
very off and very socially.
Her and Edward are two people on opposite ends of the spectrum, I guess, and they're not clashing well at all.
No.
Yeah, then the housewives come over and they just invite themselves over to a barbecue.
5 o'clock? Yeah, you're doing a barbecue?
Yeah, they're like, when does the barbecue start? And she's like, what the fuck? What fucking barbecue? Is this
I'll bring the
something you can
coleslaw.
do? I didn't
The
know that.
ambrosia salad.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, her dress. What was it? Like a outline of a body or something? Like everything about her I hate. Everything.
If someone showed up to your house and just demanded you do a barbecue, would you do it?
I mean, like, you bringing the food? Also, what? We gonna do it on my back deck? That's like very tiny. Like, okay,
I'm
let's
gonna
do
show
it.
up at your place 4 a.m. Just be like, Crystal, I'm here for the barbecue. Cook up some steak right now.
But you know, I'd be like, all right, let's do this. We're cooking up steak. You
Everyone's
grill?
coming over.
I'd be like, okay, cool.
I'm
4 in the
driving up to
morning,
your
yeah.
place
All right.
unannounced. Be like,
Sounds good.
Kaylee, I'm here for the barbecue.
I'm in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was a little mean, but Peg likes the attention she's getting. So she kind of goes along with it instead of just being like, what? There's no barbecue. Go home, everyone.
But I feel like that's also not just the attention, but just like the social norm. Like, oh my gosh, I'm actually fitting it. Like, yes, which is liking the attention, but she doesn't have a society where she can say no.
I think they kind of hint that family has like less money than some of the other families.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
'cause the-
definitely do.
Yeah.
The mom's working.
Yeah, the moms. Yeah. I think that's like one of the things. They never really spell it out that much. They leave like hints here and there.
When they're having
Oh.
dinner, they have a whole conversation about how the other families are getting new kitchens.
Yeah,
And how,
yeah.
So
And Winona Ryder's boyfriend comes from
Yeah.
so much money.
Which I got a
Like,
whole
there's
thing about
jealousy.
that later
Yeah.
on. But yeah, I like Ed is helping chop lettuce, and then he flashes back to the inventor. Okay, I love Vincent Price, and I like him in this. He has very few scenes, doesn't have a lot of lines of dialogue, but he made a machine that is gigantic. It's like a gigantic fat thing full of like steam, and it's jumping up and down, and it seems like its only purpose is to grab one egg and then swing it over to a bowl and crack it. I'm like, what is this?
I love it. I want one.
no, I hate his Rube Goldberg machines. Like I did not like that at all. I was like, oh, and then the goal is a cookie. Like that's what.
Multiple cookies.
Yeah, but I feel like I could just make multiple cookies.
Yeah. Oh, and
What
the
an
first
invention.
invention is another thing that's holding just a pair of scissors, not even its own dedicated
Yeah.
blade. A pair of scissors to cut the whatever it was. And then what you call it? What do they call?
Oh, like the mixer.
yeah, the mixers. If you look at it, I'm like, they're not hitting that egg at all.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that's robot legs that I guess is supposed to flatten it, doesn't touch it at all.
Yeah.
And then you get perfect
thought it was
cookies.
But the lab, it really reminds me exactly how it is in Nightmare Before Christmas at Dr. Finkelstein's. For some reason, all the imagery, it feels like he took that
Yeah.
and just made it
Well,
animated.
keep in mind, Nightmare Before Christmas was being worked on at this time. It took 3
Yeah.
years to make that movie. So he was doing like this, Batman Returns, and then
Yeah.
Ed Wood while that movie was like being made. But yeah, it's the most overly complicated machine ever. And I know it's supposed to be fun and whimsical, but I'm like, this is,
Have you watched Flubber? Like, come on.
I haven't watched Flubber in a million
Oh,
years.
Flubber's so good.
Do you have a hot take on Flubber?
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah, I
now I
haven't
feel
seen
like
it.
I have to though.
You do.
Okay.
Movies hit so much
We're
harder
going to
when you're
rewatch it
young.
and be like, wow, this really sucks. What are you
Fuck
doing?
you. It's great.
I did revisit Mrs. Doubtfire recently
See, that
I like
that's
that movie.
with that asshole Joey C who tricked me.
Oh,
Can you believe he
no.
wore a lady's disguise and pretended to be someone else, and I fell for it like a sucker?
You are a sucker.
He's fired again from the show. He's fired again. So yeah, he picks up the heart cookie and he goes up to the lettuce cutting robot, which its only job is to cut just tons of lettuce. Where does the lettuce come from? I don't know, but it's on a conveyor belt and it's chopping it up. And I guess that's where he gets the idea of like, I'm going to make a person. I don't think he realizes there are other ways to make people. We kind of figured it out since the beginning of time. You just need to find yourself a lady or someone with those parts and,
There
you know.
go. Frankenhooker.
drop a load at them. Yeah.
Frankenstein.
No. You could just have a kid. I don't know why he
I'm not
feels the need to
understanding.
make a man,
No,
but anyway.
No. Let's not make the kids. No.
Um,
We can practice making the kids, but like,
yeah.
let's not. Actually.
Also, did you notice throughout the film, everyone is telling Ed that they know a doctor who might be able to help?
Yeah, something that I thought was interesting about that too is until he's like on the TV show and somebody asks
Yeah.
him that on the TV show, because you're right, they ask him a couple of times
Yeah.
at the barbecue. They ask
Yeah.
him.
I think Peg mentions it early on,
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
Peg mentions it. They're like, "Do you want prosthetics? Do you want prosthetics?" On the TV show, he finally says, "Like, oh, I would like to talk to that person." But up until then, we really don't get to know anything about what his actual wants and needs are.
I think maybe he just didn't know what a doctor was yet. That could also
Oh,
be
that's
it.
possible. Yeah.
I think his intelligence, like, he doesn't speak much in the beginning, and
Mm-hmm.
I think he is such a very fast learner. And as this movie's going on, you see him more the wheels literally turning in his head.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Joyce brings her cuck husband to the party. I do like his scene where he's like, "Oh, what a handshake there." I like when Ed is making kebabs. That's fun.
Oh my God.
He's like got all like the food on his hands. But I like that the war veteran comes over and he's
I
like,
liked that.
Don't tell anyone you have a handicap." But I think that's the guy at the end who like says something kind of mean. When we get to the scene, I'll ask if that's the same guy. But yeah, he's like,
I
I
think
took some
that- that
I
is
took some
him.
shrapnel during the war. I can't feel a goddamn thing. So yeah, then we get another flashback scene. It's weird. The flashbacks are kind of like here. And then you don't see another flashback till like way later in the film. I thought they would have been sprinkled a little bit more.
I can go with that, yeah.
I do like this though, when he's like teaching about etiquette and like Ed isn't finished yet, like he's still in half. But I like when the camera pans by and you see like all the plans for Edward, like they're blowing, and you see like what the final product would be if he got there, and it's like, oh man, he was like one step away. Shit. Feel bad for that dude. Yeah, and he's teaching about etiquette, and then he reads him like poetry, and I never found the thing funny, but apparently it was funny. I don't even remember what the poem was.
It wasn't supposed to be like in your face funny, but like a little like their humor, like that vibe humor.
Yeah, I just like them like interacting. It's like, oh yeah, he was socializing with someone.
Yeah.
And they were trying to prepare them for the world, but unfortunately, it's like the opposite of Dr. Frankenstein, who's like, oh my God, I don't like what I made. Get out of here. It's like, but I don't know what anything is. Like, he's like, oh, look, I made this cool thing. I'm going to teach it things.
Yeah, it felt like there was definitely it showed more of a father figure.
A relationship.
Exactly. And that he wasn't built out of malice or anything like that. He was brought from love, and that's just who he is inside, because it's like he came from like a loving family. No matter how shitty his situation was, he still came from a shitty family or a shitty situation with a loving family. And then he just goes out there, and you could tell like he has that in his heart to be just a good non-human.
Crystal, I disagree with everything you just said and have ever said. Oh, what's that? Another Christmas caroler.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Tony, it's Adam. Call me when you get this. I'm dressed up as Blue Beetle for the 50th time because I didn't like the film, so ha ha ha, that's the bit. Adam's dressed up as a character in a movie he didn't like. Feliz Navidad. Something, Feliz Navidad. It's run its course, dude. I don't want to be stuck in some Blue Beetle purgatory because I didn't like the movie. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. Motherfucking Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas from Blue Beetle and Adam Does Movies. It's not even really a joke. It's just sad. It's almost Christmas, and I'm sitting in here sweating my ass off in this costume that now smells like a Turkish prison because it can't be washed. What are we doing anymore? I'm an adult. Happy holidays, everyone.
But then, his flashback ends, and then Kim is back. She just got done being railed in the woods.
Oh my God.
By Anthony Michael Hall.
Bye. Don't forget your arm.
Oh, yeah.
My good, me and him, we're very relatable, me and Anthony Michael Hall. We've both been in Christopher Nolan films in the same series. My one regret, I'm sure it's a regret for him, is that we weren't in the same movie together, working together.
Yeah.
I like Anthony Michael Hall. He's fun.
I do too. It's hard for me to see him as the mean jock kind of character.
Especially at this time. It's funny. You look at young Anthony Michael Hall and you're like, what a dork. And then you look at modern Anthony Michael Hall and he's like kind of like a grizzled dude now. Yeah. But yeah, this is like the mid Anthony Michael Hall where it's like, okay, you want him to be tough guy, but he still looks like a dork a little bit. Was he a good Tommy Doyle in Halloween Kills? Was he better than Paul Rudd in Halloween 6?
No.
It's fun to think that him and Paul Rudd have played the same character.
I love Paul Rudd.
But yeah, so they get back a day early. He mentions, I want to know more about his home life because it seems like his dad is the worst. He's like, I didn't tell my dad I was coming home early, so I have to sleep on the lawn. I'm like, what the fuck?
It just seems like it's one of those exact like I said, actually, with coming from a family that shows love, even if you come from a situation where all your needs are taken care of, the father's still an asshole, so the kid's an asshole.
Yeah.
I think they're exact opposite.
I do feel bad we never get to meet the dad. I'm like, I just want to know what this dad is like.
No, because he's too busy working or doing whatever. He can go fuck himself.
But yeah, so she comes back. She didn't let her parents know that she was coming back early. And, she freaks out because there's a fucking Edward Scissorhands in her head. All right, say you guys come home. Okay. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to get ready for bed. And you see an Edward Scissorhands in your bed. What's your reaction?
The same thing as hers, which is run out of the room and scream.
Crystal, what's your reaction?
You're really gonna ask me?
Yeah, what's your reaction?
Fucked up mind.
You're like, oh, a man.
Oh, kinky. Leather.
Oh, leather daddy is just in my bed.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I will never, with serial killer shit, if I'd be like that person in the horror movies where it turns into a porn, where they're coming to get me, and I'm like.
So you would be in Edward Penis hands.
Fuck yes, I would be.
I don't know. I'd feel a little confused if there was just a person Oh, one time I was in Texas and we were leaving for the airport, and me and my friend were like, we're putting our cars in the rental, and we realized there was just a guy sleeping in our passenger seat. And we had to wake him up. We're like, hey man, who are you? Why are you here? I guess we left the car unlocked. He got drunk at like a local bar, and I guess he went to go wait in what he thought was his friend's car until they came up, but instead we're like, dude, this isn't your car. You gotta get out of here. Now, if he was a leather daddy with knives, I probably would have not woken him up. I probably would have called the cops and been like, holy shit, I think there's a psycho in my car.
Yeah, that's a little strange. There's also like the time, like I've actually had a few times where friends have told me like they've gone to a hotel room and there's people sleeping in their bed and you're like, what? It's like they've already had the room and someone's sleeping in there, gotten drunk or somehow. You're like,
we know someone who was the person sleeping in the wrong hotel room, but let's not dwell on that.
Right. As I'm like talking about this, I'm like, wait a minute. There's also that situation.
But my favorite part is when she's in the hallway like crying and then he comes out of the room and walks past her. She like, freaks out again.
The dad just like takes him and turns him. Nope, we're going this way.
Turns him around. But then the dad tries to calm his nerves. He gives him some alcohol. Does he call it lemonade? Because like
he does.
Yeah.
Because it pops up later.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great.
Yeah, then the mom's like, let me introduce you to Edward. He's like, and like falls over. Yeah. It's the worst introduction ever. I actually don't. I know we're supposed to feel bad for Edward and like, oh man, she should give him a chance. Like, no, that was like the worst introduction you could have possibly done.
You just more feel bad for him because he keeps being put into like these like shit situations. Like he's trying so hard, and like right when he had it, like you do feel, not saying like, oh yeah, this scene makes her really want him, but it's just you feel bad for him now. You're like, he's
it's
trying.
like you're embarrassing yourself in front of the girl that you have the huge crush on.
Yeah.
Tony, you can't relate to that.
This movie is my life. It's my life. Anyway. Yeah, how old is Edward?
I think that we're supposed to think he's a teenager.
Okay, because it seems like the town was aware of the inventor. Not enough to check on him, I guess, but like it seems like they. No, this doesn't seem, because I was like watching this. I'm like, is he like 100 years old? Like, how old is he?
I don't know if he
doesn't age according to the end of the movie. That's why I was a little confused. But I guess he is also a teenager.
What keeps him going? I have no idea. Like, what just keeps... It's not electricity, like, obviously, but like...
The cookie heart.
The cookie, yeah. He just fires up some cookies and lettuce, and that's all he eats.
This is why this is like a Christmas movie. He fires up cookies.
Then he goes to Kevin's show and tell. By the way, how many goddamn show and tells are there? Because he mentions it earlier in the movie. Can I bring him to show and tell? And then there's this show and tell. And then later on in the movie, he's like, someone brought in baby possums to show and tell. I'm like, what the fuck? You're like in 5th, 6th grade. They don't do show and tells at that point.
I think it was more of like one of those schools where it's like each kid gets a day for show and tell. Yeah. That's the way I thought of it.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't make sense because then someone has like a cage in the classroom while he's showing off his.
Maybe it was 2 people at that time.
Also, I don't know if you're allowed to bring in like a person for show and tell.
He's not a person.
He's not a person.
Exactly.
It's true. Yeah, but they don't know that. I do like he's hyping up. He makes Edward do like karate like stances, which I thought was pretty cool. Then he does the little paper thing.
The kids loved it.
Yeah.
The kids loved it. Would you be impressed?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you? I would honestly be the one being like, how do you shit? I don't understand.
Raising your hand.
Hi.
Yeah.
How do you shit or wipe? Like,
How do you survive? How do you function? You were that asshole as a kid. Got it.
So yeah, Ed has a crush on Kim, but she's freaked out by him appropriately. Mm-hmm. I do like him coming out of the house being like, Kim, hi! And then she's like, oh God, don't look at me, don't look at me. And again, Jim's dad sounds like an asshole. They're having dinner. He's like, yeah, he's got like stereo, forehead VCR, all this. Like, oh, that must be nice. Like, I'm not allowed to use it. He has his own private room for that stuff. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
He just doesn't care.
Like, you have your own media room that needs to be locked down, I guess, which I thought was bizarre.
Especially at that time. Like, that's massively expensive.
Yeah.
Like,
what's the dad watching? That he needs to have
Edward
all
penis hands. It's very meta.
Is that why he doesn't press charges later on? It's like, he reminds me of that movie I've been watching.
well, he said he thought he was like special needs or something, doesn't he?
Yeah,
so
later
that
on.
also
Wait, that's
makes
not
me
the word
think-
he uses, but that's what they say later on. So yeah, Edward trims more hedges, and then he grooms a dog. And he somehow turns this dog into a big poodle because I think it's two different breeds of dog. But I do like the whole, like, is that my Alexa? By the way, it's like the worst haircut ever. It's all clumpy and whatnot. Look worse than fucking Space Cat's haircut from over the summer.
Oh,
I got to get her groomed again. She's awful. So then he starts a dog grooming business. And then Joyce quickly turns it into a human hair cutting business. And she like creams her pants getting a haircut. I guess
it's very sensual.
It really is. And it's just like, okay, I get like girls are turned on by like the danger or something, but I'm just like, I feel like this was a little overkill.
Yeah, you've watched him trim hedges and dogs. Like, how do you feel?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want him to cut my hair after he's been cutting like leaves and dogs all day long.
But
like, can you wipe those babies down? Like, what's going on here?
I think that just shows like there is literally no excitement at all whatsoever. Like that, and she says in her entire life.
The most thrilling moment of her entire
life
was a haircut where maybe she would have gotten scratched on the face.
Maybe.
That lady has not led an exciting life.
Nah, that's why she wants that BDSM scissor daddy.
Yeah. I mean, I went on the Velociraptor coaster at Universal Studios. That was the most thrilling thing that happened to me this year. I thought I was going to die on that. I don't know if you've ever been on that coaster.
No, I haven't.
You just get a lap bar. There's no straps.
Sweet.
And it makes you go upside down. And like, it feels
That's
like
actually crazy.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. I was not aware when me and my mom got into line with it. And we're like, oh, fun roller coaster. And then they put the lap bar down. And we were like, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, where's the turn? I looked into it. Sorry for side rant. I looked into it, like physics and people. They're like, there's no physical way you can be lifted out. Like a lot of times the shoulder bars are just for show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have had in many rides, because there was also carnival rides where the fucking latches came undone and the zipper.
Well, that's carnival. That's carnival. We're talking major
I don't
theme
give a
park.
fuck. I got bad PTSD on that shit, but you know my ass is still hands up on a roller coaster.
But anyway, the scary part is they call it like airtime, where like your butt lifts off the seat. So with that, without the shoulder thing, that was way scarier than getting a fucking haircut. This lady is a very boring person.
I love that your mom went on it with you.
She was not. That like ride broke her. She was cursing so much in front of these children. Like,
I love it.
and like wouldn't
Go,
stop cursing afterwards.
Fuck
She
yeah.
threatened to kick me out of a will. It was like bad. It was bad. I'm just like, I was literally in the same seat as you. I didn't know it was going to be that intense.
Oh my God.
We love roller coasters. It was just too scary. It was too scary. When I went back, I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to do that one again. I'm good. That was my first real roller coaster in like 10 years, and I picked like the worst one to start off with.
We live right by Six Flags. What the fuck are you doing?
I never have anyone to go to Six Flags with.
I guess we're not friends. It's cool.
Oh, fuck you. No, fuck you. Fuck you, miss. Oh, I'm going to a Maxim party. No invite for Tony. Fine. Oh, I'm going to all this Halloween stuff that's by your house, Tony. Not going to send you an invite. That's cool.
I was the
Awesome.
guest.
When I go to Rochester, will you invite me to stuff?
No.
Yes.
Kaylee's last episode. Kaylee's last goddamn episode. All right.
There's nothing to do in Rochester.
Oh. Okay.
Whose computer is on in the store? What do you mean? I've been to Rochester before.
What did you do?
Got mean looks from my then girlfriend's parents. We went to a mall.
Were there stores in it, or was it like one or two?
At the time, there were. It was pretty loaded. I saw that stupid mushroom house.
Oh, that's kind of cool. But you've already seen it, so I don't need to take you there.
Yeah, really. There's not a lot to do up there.
There's a Jell-O museum about 20 minutes away.
Say what?
Yeah, it sounds
Pretty
like it
cool.
would be really cool, but it's actually just like a little house. When I went there, I think they have finally removed this exhibit, but I went there after all the Bill Cosby stuff. And, the whole thing is like, it's like, you know, just a little house. And it's like a couple of Jell-O molds and like a couple of old Jell-O packages. And then in the back of the room, there's just like 4 or 5 folding chairs sitting in front of like a very old TV. And they're just playing repeat Bill Cosby Jell-O commercials.
Oh my God.
And that's the Jell-O Museum. And I swear to God, I was like, I kind of love this. Like, it's horrible. It's so wonderful.
Do they still do that?
They did it after he was in all the trouble, but I think that they finally have gotten that out.
I would love it.
Hey, but then he got out of jail, so they probably put it back.
Maybe they have. We should go the
should
next
go.
time that you're in Rochester.
Well, look, I don't want to make any promises. I might be in Rochester for a certain comedy show if it happens. So yeah, Peg gets on the phone with the head of Avon. This is like a big moment for her. But apparently she could have just called her at any time. She just never had a reason. Yeah. Which I thought, I'm like, oh, that's funny. But yeah, that helps her fix his face. His face does get a little bit better throughout the film. Like, the scars aren't as bad. I think he heals a little bit throughout the film. Did I just imagine that? He seems like he...
No, it feels like he has, if anything, more scars. Like, they're just...
He does cut himself a couple times.
Yeah, there just seem to be more...
I will say the cutting, whenever he does cut himself or someone else, it's clearly just like red paint. It's like he's just putting like blood on them. It doesn't feel like a real cut. He creeps on Kim when he's getting his knives sharpened. Now, this part kind of takes me out of it because everything else has this 60s aesthetic or this gothic aesthetic. But this looks like a 90s place.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. Also, you're saying that the 60s vibe. It's weird because
or 50s vibe, yeah.
Or 50s vibe. Sure, yeah. 50s, but also one of the neighbors gives me the slut neighbor, cougar lady, gives me such 80s. There's like such 80s vibes in it, too.
It was also, he kind of did that with his Batman movies where there was like a 40s look, but then they had modern stuff. So he kind of likes to just mesh all the
I thought it was a
timelines.
Great mesh, but I do agree when you go to the mall, it's
that
mesh
was
isn't
the thing.
there
So, like,
anymore. Or the colors.
What you call it? In like the Batman movies, they're meshing all the time periods from the beginning.
Yeah.
This one, it's literally been gothic imagery, 50s imagery, and then suddenly there's people wearing 90s clothes. And it's like, okay, now I'm a little, you know what? You're right, Kaylee. It's the worst movie ever. I give up.
I'm going to do a little homage to Mint Salad and talk about colors.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The colors in this mall, like, it just doesn't mix at all. Like, I love that whole contrast of the castle and the town and the darkness and bright colors, like the pastels. But yeah, as soon as you go in there, the costumes aren't the same. The stores aren't the same. It's too realistic.
I mean,
it takes you out.
That could have been like a commentary too of like, modern times taking over, but they don't really do anything with that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with no on that one.
Anyway.
I disagree.
Then he gets home and he picks the lock for them because she gets locked out. What's it called? Anthony Michael Hall, Jim, is just like, oh my God, that's amazing. You didn't leave a scratch or anything. I'm going to make note of that. But first, I need to rail Kim, so let me know when her parents come home. I thought that was pretty mean. I'm like, oh man, don't. The guy has a crush on her. Like, don't make him do that. That's weird. But then Edward gets to go on a TV show. A local daytime talk show. Speaking of 80s, 90s daytime talk shows, I miss those. Fuck yeah. This is like still when they were like kind of normal-ish before the Jerry Springer stuff kind of took over. What? Even like older Jerry Springer is like this.
Yeah.
When like he was interviewing like senators and stuff, and then it was just like, oh man, I'm sleeping with my sister or whatever. But yeah, he's showing off. He's like, I'm here and I want to start a business or something. They're all asking him questions. No one asks how he shits. That's the one question we really want to know. Like, how does he shit? I don't get it. But yeah, I like the one that's like, is there a lady in your life? And he doesn't answer like no immediately. I guess because he has a crush on a girl. And it's like, yeah, that's not the same as having a lady in your life. And he's about to say who it is, and then he electrocutes himself.
I think that whole setup is funny. Like, he has the hedge, the dog that's just randomly there.
Yeah, just a random dog in the hedge.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love how it is very cliche.
They give him the idea.
Yeah, I liked that whole setup. Yeah. I did.
They give him the idea to start a beauty salon, which is actually a good idea for him, to be honest.
And that also ties into, so the dad spends a lot of time being like, you should be charging for your gardening services. Yeah. You should be charging for cutting the dog's hair. Yeah. So this is the first time that he is going to potentially start a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dad's very like dad-esque on that.
Yes.
I wish my dad was.
Yeah.
I do like when the girl's like, but if you had normal hands, you wouldn't be special. And he's just like, I don't really.
That was so sad.
Yeah, he's just like, he should be like, I don't really care about that guy, so I just want to have normal fucking hands.
But then the mom has the best response.
He'll always be special.
I love that.
I mean, he could, like, honestly, the system he has for cutting now is overly complicated. If he had normal hands with normal scissors, he'd probably be way better at his job.
He's an artist. There's like no doubt about that.
You don't think he'd be better with like...
With normal hands? Maybe his power is in the scissor hands.
I don't know.
I think well, then he would have to. It's like going through whatchamacallit, where you have to rehabilitation, where you have to learn how to use a hand. He's never used fingers before.
Yeah.
I think he could figure it out. I mean, he's spent his whole life with a more complicated system.
But he's used to that system.
Yeah, but I think he might be able to figure out this. I'm sure this would be easy for him to figure out. For podcast listeners, I'm making a scissor cutting motion.
No, you're not. That's not scissor
cutting.
Scissor cutting.
No, you're not.
That's how you use a scissors.
This right here.
It looks
So what
weird
Tony
because I
was
don't
doing-
have scissors in my hand.
Think of him giving thumbs up and just pushing he's pushing a button, just putting his fingers.
Yeah,
down.
that was playing video games, not using
That's
scissors.
not scissors.
Fuck both
What the
of you.
fuck is wrong with you?
That's how you use scissors?
This is why he's single.
You know, Kayla, you
And you
ever
think- wait, and
Kayla,
you
you ever
think that
be
it-
better crystal to worse crystal? I'm just telling you that right now.
And the audience is like, no, she's still not worse.
I just don't even understand how you've ever cut anything ever in your entire life.
Tattoo on your thumb.
I do.
That's fucking
Oh my
awesome.
god.
I love it.
Okay.
I'm obsessed.
Okay. Joyce takes him to a barber shop, and then she models some smocks for him, and then
rapes, attempts to rape the fuck out of
yeah,
him.
she tries to sexually assault him.
I don't think he's got a dick, to be honest.
That's another question. Does he have
That's
a
a
dick?
very good question.
Yeah, I don't think he has a dick.
Well, if he shits, he must piss. What does he have a cloaca like a bird? Like where does it all come out of? That's what I want to know.
You're really fucking fascinating with shitting, Tony. I think
Just him. I just don't know how his body works. Does he sweat? How
Well,
is
he vomits.
He
I
vomits.
know
does
that he
vomit.
vomits.
So he
Maybe
has a
vomits.
stomach.
Yeah.
Maybe
He has a
No,
stomach
are
and a
we
heart.
sure he has a stomach? Because maybe he just
Maybe it just expels out of
Yes.
the mouth, and it
Maybe
looks
that's just what he
like vomit
does.
to us. What we call vomit.
we
He
didn't
calls-
see what it looked
You know
like.
what? Fucking RoboCop made more sense. They make a point to say he still has some organs. We give him baby paste to make sure those organs are taken care of.
Yeah.
With this, we even see a diagram of how his insides work, and it confuses me.
Does he have toes?
I don't
extremities?
know.
Like I'm trying to think. Like if his extremity, like if they're,
Does he have scissor toes?
that's what I'm so curious about. Like,
Well, he
does
must
have normal-
because he was almost complete.
Yeah.
The inventor almost completed him, so he
Yeah.
must have normal toes.
I honestly don't think he has a body underneath because he's always putting clothes on top of the leather shit.
I did read somewhere that the leather stuff was not necessarily supposed to be clothes that he was wearing, but rather that was supposed to be his body.
Yeah, because I think you see in the
Yeah.
diagram, it's like keeping all his shit inside. Yeah. But anyway.
But like, then how is she? Like, if you're that close up to him, wouldn't you? Like, what are you expecting him to do? What? Just use his fucking mouth, which I also get. But like
Like in
besides
Monkey
that-
Shines?
Oh,
Have you ever seen Monkey
Yes,
Shines?
I sure have.
That's a sad movie where the guy is paralyzed from the waist down and his
Yeah.
dick actually doesn't work. So when there's the erotic sex scene, the girl uses this stuff for handicapped people to get around and like climbs on top of his mouth. It's the funniest goddamn
Listen,
thing.
you make it work somehow.
George Romero's
Good for her.
masterpiece as far as I'm concerned.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I reviewed that one with James. He didn't get that part. I was just like, yeah, they mentioned
Really?
earlier in the movie that his dick doesn't work. That's why that happens.
How
Anyway,
do you just like not get that?
if you miss that line of dialogue, I can understand. Because it kind of is like a quick moment. So if you don't know that his dick doesn't work, you'd be very confused by that scene. So yeah, he like leaves the place and goes to have dinner with the family. And I love that he like basically tells them what happened. He's like, and then she took off all her clothes. And I love how like the three family members all go like silent because they just heard it. And the dad's like, well, that's real swell. And now, you know, when you have a business and blah, blah, like the dad had just like went over his head and they're all like, they all kind of freeze. And I like that Kevin like starts to crack a smile because he realizes the dad didn't catch on. That's a great fucking moment.
That's good.
He can't get a loan because he is not a person.
He doesn't have social security.
Yeah, I love the
not
guy's like,
her.
no job history, no social security number. You're like,
No collateral.
no collateral.
Nothing. But you can get a really cool handicap sticker.
Wait, wouldn't the house, would the mansion not have been collateral?
Unless
It's not in his name.
Yeah.
It's
So
not
there's
in his
your
name.
answer there, Tony.
Yeah.
It's not his name.
So he doesn't have that house. That's why the
It's
family
not
couldn't
his.
go live
So
there.
would
Yeah.
then the town would own it.
I guess so. And they're doing nothing with it. I don't know. Maybe the inventor had a kid who just lives away. I don't know. It's like the Divine Lorraine Hotel in Philadelphia. It just sat there for decades. Someone owned it and it was just falling apart. I think now they finally opened it. But it's like, this is a really cool old building in the middle of Center City and there's just no one's doing anything with it. So yeah, it gets turned down for a loan. And like, I like that the mom is upset and it's like, but no, that guy was nice actually because he told you how you could fix the situation, but he's 100% right. Why would they ever give him a loan? Jim comes up with an idea. He wants Ed to break into his dad's, what we now assume is a porn viewing room, to steal all the equipment and sell it on the black market.
Now
I guess.
it makes more sense.
What?
To sell all the equipment and the VHSs.
Yeah, he
and,
mentions he knows a guy.
No, the porn. I'm saying like to sell the porn. God damn it.
So he's selling porn on the black market.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is all to get a van, so him and Peg can just like not Peg,
Kim.
That's what he's thinking.
Yeah. Him and Kim
That's why.
can get railed and pegged, presumably, in this van. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, come on, man.
Also, you don't think that like your dad would notice, like, one, I got robbed, and then two, my son showed up with like this new sick van, like with a mattress in the back.
With his type of dad, doesn't seem like he'd
You're
notice
totally
at all.
right. You're totally right.
Yeah.
So at that point, why doesn't he just go in and actually steal it at that point if his dad doesn't even notice he's alive?
Because his dad keeps the key to the media room closer than his dick or
Yeah,
something
that's
like
what he
that.
says.
Yeah.
So still break in then. You're still breaking in. So why do you gotta
He
go through all this?
he can't get the key. He needs Ed to pick the lock. Because apparently that scissor is a lockpick.
But why they gotta
don't know
do it
why.
at night?
One of the scissors.
One
is
of
a
the
lock.
scissors is a lockpick.
Just do it during the day when he's at work or something. Why you gotta be so complicated?
Anyway, I do like that they lie to Ed. He's like, did this guy steal from you? And they're like, yes, he stole from us. And that's why we're doing this. So they have him break in. Turns out there's a security thing. He gets locked in there. And then we meet
Can't use the doorknob.
he can't like open the doorknob. The cops show up when we get our first appearance of Officer Allen.
I love him.
Who almost shoots Ed because like they don't know. They're like, oh my god, this guy's coming out with a bunch of knives.
But like, okay, so he was on a TV show. Every
Yeah.
single person in the town is talking about him. How do the cops not know that there's a dude with scissor hands running around?
The only thing I can think of with this, because I did question that at first, only the women seem to know who he is and pays attention. It's a women audience.
yeah, if you weren't,
It's kind of, I feel like this movie is showing more of like bored housewives and how cliquey they can be and gossipy, and the men are very stereotypic where they're going to work and don't give a fuck kind of thing.
yeah, they're not watching daytime talk
Like,
shows.
yeah,
they're at work.
Exactly. You see how the dad is more nonchalant of what's happening. Like even his like, oh great, you this bitch tried railing you.
Yeah.
Like,
Now it's catching on. But also, Officer Allen, I feel like he'd turn the TV on and be like, "There's some white people shit. I don't have to deal with this." So yeah, they almost shoot him. But you're right. The wives come out. They're like, "No, those are his hands. Please don't shoot
we
him."
know him. He's got use for those. We're using the fuck out of him. Like not of like goodness or anything. Like
No.
oh, let me help him, get
We're
him bailed
exploiting
out.
him.
At 100 gazillion%. Like,
But I guess
ugh.
Edward is smart enough to know that Kim and Jim used him, and he doesn't rat them out.
I think he knows
He
that.
pieces together that he was like the fall guy.
It is interesting that he so innocently describes Joyce raping him, and then like in the next scene he is somehow smart enough and savvy enough to not turn in Kim and Jim.
I think that's because he doesn't understand what sex is. I mean, even as I think of him as a child. As a child, children don't know really what sex is, but they do know a bit of right from wrong from seeing the people around
They
them.
don't. Kids don't watch Halloween when they're 6.
I mean, maybe.
Kids don't watch Conan the Barbarian. There's a pretty graphic sex scene in that one.
Yeah, but they don't know what the fuck is happening.
I knew what sex was as a kid because I watched all
definitely-
these movies.
Yeah, I definitely knew it sex was when I was about 5. So
Maybe you didn't. When did you find out it wasn't a stork that drops you off?
No, it was probably pretty early because my mom straight up told me that Santa didn't exist or any of that. It was pretty early.
what a sad Christmas episode this has become.
I know, this is supposed to be the
like-
fun Christmas episode. You guys didn't even wear sweaters. I can't believe
That's because Santa doesn't exist. We just learned it.
But Krampus does.
Oh shit!
I saw a TikTok.
My friend watches the show with his young daughter sometimes. I hope he's not watching this episode. But anyway, keep going.
No, I saw a TikTok and it explained why I hate Christmas so much because it was like the I'm totally gonna say this wrong and everyone's gonna be like, can you just shut the fuck up already? It was the explanation of like God being like, why do some people like hate Christmas and why do some people
What the hell did you just do?
I got stuck. I don't know. Got excited. Oh my life. It was like, oh yeah, well, why do some people love Halloween and why do some people love Christmas? And it's like, well, Satan, can you please tell us like what kind of childhood you had? He's like, it was horrible. I hated it. Like family wasn't there. Blah 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 blah. So what's your favorite holiday? Halloween. And it's like, hey Gabriel, how was your child? Oh, it was amazing. We cooked things. It was amazing. Like, well, he's like, all right, good. What's your favorite holiday? Christmas. And it's like, there you go.
I don't know. Both holidays are fine. I didn't start hating Christmas till I worked retail, to be honest.
Oh,
That's when it gets you. When you work retail, you're like, oh, this is fucking terrible. I hate it.
I'm learning so much about Christmas. My little Jew self over here. I'm learning everything.
Let's talk Hanukkah.
No, let's not. Christmas is so much better.
Okay. Oh,
It's not even a high holiday.
That's so sad.
Yeah, I know.
Hanukkah, all these are actually sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even a high holiday.
No, it's not. We don't even give a fuck.
I make a point, or I will make a point when it's shot in The Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm like, oh, there's all those holiday trees. There's not one for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Ramadan, or Boys Month. That's what I'm going to work.
I mean, we could do a burning bush for sure if we wanted to, but you know.
You should watch the 8 Crazy Nights episode.
I should.
That was good. We had the director for that one, too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Anyway, we're on the topic of Jews. We got to get off that. It's a very sensitive topic.
It's true.
Especially right now.
Right now, not a good time for that conversation.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to like you guys this buzz?
Wow.
That is a rough. I don't even know that we're allowed to like ourselves.
Good point, Kaylee. Oh, there's another one in the store.
Hey, was just in the neighborhood and thought I'd stop by to say Merry Christmas. But then I remembered I'm Jewish and I wouldn't want to upset my mother. So I thought instead I could sing you the Hanukkah song. But that would probably get you copyright claimed, wouldn't it? Then again, who would I prefer the proceeds of this video go to? Tony or Adam Sandler? You know what, Tony? I'm feeling the holiday spirit, so I'm going to let you have this one. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and please subscribe to One Take. Otherwise, this kind of feels like a waste of time. Why am I doing this?
So I like that Peg blames herself because she thinks he stole the money to start the business. And then she blames TV programs, which I thought was funny. She's just like, damn those TV programs. And then Alan Arkin's like, yeah, damn them all to hell. I'm like, does he even know what's happening right now?
Not at all.
The shrink vouches for Edward. They're like, yeah, he doesn't understand human interact. Like he has no concept of right and wrong. He's still learning. Like, and the guy's like, is he gonna be okay out there? He's like, yeah, I'll be fine. And the cop kind of not relates to Edward, but if you look at this town, the only other black people I think we've seen were in the attendance of that daytime talk show.
Oh yeah.
So I think he kind of gets the whole like, hey, I know what it's like to not really fit in with these people.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
I
me
just
neither.
thought he was just like, he's a cop and sees all the bullshit happening.
There is that,
fuck
but
these
since he is
people.
black, I could see him being like, hey,
That's really
I
interesting.
kinda get it.
I
like
know what
that.
it's like when this town will like gang up. Like you gotta like really be careful out there. So that's I kind of like his character. He gets a little stupid at the end, but I kind of like his character for that like whole thing. He's like, okay, I don't really understand the whole robot scissors things, but I understand what happens when a whole town hates you. So you better be careful. Kim feels bad for Edward, and now she kind of starts caring for him a little bit because he took the fall for her. She's like, oh, wow, that was so nice of you getting in trouble so I didn't have to. I now have a crush on you.
Getting in trouble so that I can fuck.
Yeah.
Which she's totally in support of the theft so that she can fuck. That's what she's like, I thank you so much for trying to make it so that my boyfriend and I can get a van.
But the fact is like, oh my God, this is someone that actually did something for me and my boyfriend does it.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's what girls want, Tony. That's all you got. Just got to do something nice for them. Learn that. Learn that. Take a fall, do something.
Act like I don't take a fall. Okay, I'll hire a guy to shoot me while I'm out on a date, and I'll jump in front of the bullet, I guess.
You have said, I think, multiple times, if that was to happen, you were out. I'm pretty sure you said that multiple times on episodes.
I'd run away.
You pushed me. No, when we were in fucking Philly.
What?
We were walking down the street, and you're like, hey, this guy, like, you're like walking ahead of me, and people were saying things to me. You're like, sorry, you're on your own.
Because you're a strong, independent woman who don't need no man, I think. You're also talking to the guy who got scared at the haunted house in October, and then I grabbed Joey C and threw him in front of me because I was afraid something was going to So, anyway, I'm really brave. That was a joke. I'm actually like really brave. Anyway, so Edward feels kind of cucked because right after that, she goes up to Jim. She goes up there to yell at him, but he doesn't wait around for that. So he starts chopping up the house. He's like shredding the wallpaper. And then Alan Arkin's like, buddy, I wish he didn't do that. Instead of just screaming, which is what I probably would do. I'm like, what the fuck did you do to my house, you asshole?
All my curtains.
Yeah. He's like, look, you're gonna have to work to fix all that. But what about trust? And he brings up the ethics question. If you found a bag of money,
Yeah.
what would you do? Would you keep it? Give it to your friends?
Give it to the poor.
Give it to the poor. Give
Or
it to
turn
the
it into the
police.
cops.
Yes. And then the answer is apparently give it to the police. And I'm just like, no.
No one will.
No.
But Edward's answer is give it to your loved ones or give it to your friends.
Yes.
And I think that this is a really interesting scene. This is actually probably my favorite portion of this movie.
Yeah.
I never had realized before, basically the entire movie is asking the exact same question, but about Edward. So effectively, when Peg finds Edward, she is finding a whole bunch of money.
Yeah.
And she answers the question by giving it to her loved ones also. So her answer is effectively the same because she's sharing him with the town. She's not, exploiting him.
Yeah.
She's trying to be giving and wonderful with that. And I think that's a really interesting comparison.
Yeah. Because she, shortly after this, she starts to reflect on what she did.
On what ethics are. And
Yeah.
and I think that kind of as we go through the film, we get to see the answer to that ethical question in a couple of different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, maybe see if the police are searching for that exact amount of money. And if they're not, give that shit to yourself. Cops don't need it. You're good.
Unless the bills are marked and shit.
Huh?
I mean, it could be marked. It could be money laundering.
That's fine. Yeah, that's true.
I've seen too much Ozark lately.
Give it to an enemy. Give it to an enemy
it to
should have
an
been the
enemy.
option. Yeah,
No,
they
I
never
don't
do
wanna
that.
take that
Give it to
risk.
the enemy.
Now it's like risking. You're like
Give
50-50.
Give half of it to the enemy. Wait
Yeah.
for a little while.
like
See if
this.
the enemy
Yeah.
gets caught for anything.
I like this.
If,
Yeah.
if nothing bad happens to the enemy, then you get to spend your other half.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would hate if my enemy had that much money, though.
So Joyce, that bitch, is now going around telling people that Ed attacked her, and I'm like, man, she
fucked
does
up.
not get her comeuppance in this movie for that shit.
But like in a sexual way. Like
Yeah.
with her, you're like, what the fuck?
You're like, yeah, they're like, he attacked Joyce. She's like, oh my God, could you imagine after what he tried with me? It's like, oh wow, I hate this woman so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically him getting arrested was a gigantic flip in what the townspeople thought of him.
It helps.
You're telling me
I
not
think.
one of them was like, oh, now he's a bad boy. Now I'm into him. Like, not one.
Apparently not.
No, because Joyce is like the leader of the group. And you could tell, like, as soon as he ran out, she's like, you can't do this to me or whatever. And I think it was just more of like, okay, the arresting part was just, it played so well in her little scheme. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think she was going to talk shit anyway because he rejected her. God fucking forbid someone
Yeah.
reject that fucking.
Yeah.
You can bleep that out. Sorry.
Needless to say, no one wants to go to the Boggs family Christmas party.
Yeah.
They're not thrilled about it. But like Peg still wants to keep up appearances.
She didn't want to have a barbecue, but boy, is she going to have that Christmas party.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she has one every year. She's like, no, it's going to be fine. Everything's going to be great. It's like, not right now.
I think it's because it's for her, Christmas is like such a joyful thing. And you see how the dad gets so excited putting up the decorations. And it's
But-
supposed to
but
be like
also,
a loving thing for the
because-
community.
But also, she is becoming a little bit more self-centered because she probably should be like, you know what, let's not have it this year. He's been under a lot of stress. It's probably not good to expose him to. But
Yeah.
she likes the attention, so she kind of like fucks up a little bit here. And then Kim sees a bunch of snow outside. And then she goes outside, and it turns out Ed has a nice sculpture. Where did he get it?
Movie magic.
Not quite sure. How is it not melted? I don't know. But yeah, he's like cutting up the Ipe sculpture, and she starts dancing, and it's actually like this is like the scene people kind of remember most from this movie, of her dancing, and the music's all nice, and then that dick Jim ruins it. I don't know why she's so into him.
It's the bad boy. He's different from the other kids in town.
Yeah, but she
Like,
doesn't
it's
look like she's
they're all
even.
bored.
She doesn't really look like she's going for a bad boy, really.
She's a cheerleader.
That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah, like you got to keep up those. I mean, this whole entire town is nothing but your cliche standards.
Yeah.
So of course you're gonna have this beautiful girl. I think she's fucking beautiful in this.
Yeah.
The 90s Winona Ryder? Yes.
Fuck yeah.
Amazingly gorgeous.
Yes.
So I think you see her along with the town's rich son. You know, it fits into that cliche standard.
That could be a thing. She's like, I'll date the rich guy. But she found like the one rich guy whose dad hates him, which is pretty funny. But yeah, he gets cut. And then Jim like bullies Ed. He's just like, you can't touch anything without destroying it. Get the fuck out of here. And Ed has another meltdown because he's being overly stimulated. I do like him shredding his outfit, and you could tell
really
they got
cool.
like the strings pulling it.
Yeah.
But it's a cool scene of him just like he's like done with like the whole facade. He's like, I'm over this.
Yeah, he no longer wants to be human.
Yes.
He no longer wants to be associated with being human.
Yes. This is basically like a Beauty and the Beast, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he just chops off the leg of the one hedge, and that girl's like, I'm calling the police. Like,
'Cause they
okay,
already
they're gonna
hate
come out and be like,
him.
all right, lady, it'll grow back. Like, I'm sure that sucks.
Also,
but-
he made that.
Also, he made it.
Yeah.
Um,
And she probably didn't pay, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
The guy who gets his tire flattened probably has more of a case to call the police than that lady.
Okay.
I do like him making the devil outside of Orlando Jones' house.
I love that.
That's my
amazing.
favorite.
That was amazing.
Because he does, by the way, he knows religion. He has the Virgin Mary on his like collage in the castle.
yeah.
He probably had a lot he probably could have said to that girl, but she just immediately assumed he was the devil, and they'll never be friends. Yeah, and then this is when Peg is like, maybe I didn't go about this the right way. Maybe I should, like, in her head, she's probably like, maybe I should have taken him to, like, a doctor when I got down here so he can get checked out instead of being like, look at my new friend. And she agrees. She's like, maybe he should just go up there where he'll be safe. And it's like, well, everyone will know he's up there. It probably won't be safe. Yeah, and then apparently a dog is nice to Edward. I do like this scene where he cuts the hair. How do those dogs see? I know dogs' vision isn't like the most important thing for them, but I always felt bad for those dogs.
Yeah, I mean, were they bred just to look like that? Do we know? Or
Probably.
were they? I mean, all dogs were bred.
Dogs
to
are
be
kind
like,
of joke animals, so like,
yeah.
yeah.
We're like, hey, look, Wolf, let's domesticate the fuck out of this and make it man's best friend.
Let's flatten its
And then
nose
let's-
for
yeah,
no
let's make it
reason.
not
That'll be
breathe.
fun, wouldn't it? It's like, what?
Exactly. I don't know.
I do like before the show got bad, Broad City, Janine Garofalo like played a vet, and she like talks about chihuahuas. She's like, Chihuahua, they're basically joke animals. like there's no reason for them to exist. Yeah, so he goes back home, and Kim makes Ed hold her, which because he was just told that he can only destroy things. So I do like that scene where he's like, oh, maybe I can touch a lady, I guess. And then he has his last flashback to the inventor. Of all the times to die, the day you were going to give him his hands. That's like the worst time you could have possibly died. And then he destroyed the hands on the way down, which I thought was pretty sad.
I did not like this scene because it was a horrific, like, it was just so bad of a death. Like, it
was a painful scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vincent Price really sells, like, when his face changes, you're like, oh, shit.
And that you were talking about how this was his last like real film appearance. I think that was the last scene that he shot also.
Probably, yeah.
So like that's even more tragic.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a bummer. It is a bummer. That is actually one interesting thing is because like Tim Burton really liked Vincent Price growing up. So I kind of like that he actually got to meet and work with his hero.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of plays into like Ed Wood when Ed Wood meets Bela Lugosi. And keep in mind, Ed Wood is a fantasized version. The real Ed Wood was probably like, I'm just going to exploit this old fucker. But the movie makes it seem like they were friends.
When did wasn't Frankenweenie his original short narrated by?
I think the short Vincent was.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
It's
did the movie
That's
Vincent.
what it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, he's worked with him before.
Yeah, I think it was on Vincent. But yeah, real tragic death there. And then he rubs his face and like the blood is on it. He sees outside Jim got drunk and made his friend drive drunk for some reason to go to Kim's house. I think his friend is like, she doesn't want to talk to you, dude. You're kind of an asshole. Yeah. His friend is even like, I can see why she broke up with you. You kind of suck. But they almost run over Kevin. Oh, I was going to ask, the guy who calls Edward a cripple, was that the war veteran from earlier in the movie?
I think it was. I could totally be wrong, but I
remember.
Well, if it
either
is
that or Cougar's husband. But if it
No,
wasn't,
no, it's not
it
him.
wasn't, right? Then no.
well, if it is the war veteran,
it was the
then
war
we got to
veteran.
call the hypocrisy police.
It's true. We 100%
I think he
do.
just was listening to everyone else and was just like,
No.
"You suck." Like,
But yeah, I don't know if it's the same. Let us know if it's the same guy. I think it is.
can't you just look back and let us know because you edit this?
Oh, fine, I'll do it. I'll just do everything around here.
Just saying.
But yeah, Kevin almost gets run over, but luckily Edward's stunt double grabs Kevin's stunt double and pushes him out of the way. Lately, I've been watching movies with obvious stunt doubles. I'm like, man, you know what? Modern movies have it right with digitally throwing actors' faces on stunt doubles because some of this shit really takes me out of the movies. But yeah, he accidentally cuts him. Everyone thinks he's attacking him, which is sad. He runs back home. Because I like that Peg's like, come home. And he's like, oh, that means the big scary house. I'm going there. Yeah. The cop comes out and lets him get away. He like shoots the gun in the air. He's like, all right, get out of here. But also the cop is like, you really thought that was going to stop the town? Like, oh yeah, it's all over. He's definitely dead. And I'm just going to leave now without calling backup or a coroner or anything.
Well, he knew that he's not going to cause any trouble. Like, he's already ran off. Just let him be. That's what I got from it.
Yeah, but I would have waited there.
Calm the fuck down. Go home.
I would have waited there a little bit until they all left. He just leaves and they're like, okay, well, we're going up to the mountain now.
Let's go up. Yeah.
Somehow Kim beats them all to the mountain.
Yeah.
I don't know how she got, she wasn't, like, they were all there. I don't think we see a cutaway of her, like, sneaking in, but she somehow gets up there. It gets a little clunky at this ending here.
I don't really understand the timeline of the ending.
Yeah. But yeah, she goes upstairs. She finds him hiding in his little fireplace with his collage. Oh yeah, she's like, I thought you were dead. And then Jim shows up with a gun, who also beat the rest of the town up the hill. Was there a second entrance we didn't know about?
Do they also walk up the hill? Like, that's got to be exhausting. How are they not out of breath?
Aerobics.
Those aerobics classes.
Hell yeah.
So I really like this movie, but even toward the end, I'm like, when people are threatening to murder each other and then Edward like stabs him in the gut and kicks him out the window, I'm like, this feels a little the violence in this scene feels a little disconnected from the rest of the movie. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I agree, because he will just like hit, like, accidentally slash someone. He also asked, like, oh, is everyone all right? Like,
yeah, he asked if Kevin's okay.
And now all of a sudden, I guess, like, the only way I could take this is because he was so concerned, thinking that Jim was going to kill her. But he even says, like, stay away from her, stay away from her. Yeah. So it's not.
Well, it's weird that Jim just now has a gun. Yeah. Pulled that out of nowhere. And then whatchamacallit, Kim grabs Edward's blade because he gets like hit with some debris. And then she puts it through the throat. She's like, I'll kill you myself. I'm like, seems a little extreme for this character. Where's this coming from?
Yeah, I definitely felt like that whole, again, the ending scene, especially with him doing the stabbing of Jim and pushing him out the window. For me, it was almost, this was like the epitome of this movie almost being like the opposite of a superhero movie.
Yeah.
So in this movie, when he gets exploited, it makes him, instead of turning to heroism, it turns to his demise and like his like doing not so great stuff, like murdering Jim.
Out of all the things, you feel bad for him getting caught breaking in a house or doing this and this and this. You know, he's being accused of so much. Then he murders. I mean, you could rewrite it where like Jim gets himself killed. Exactly.
Like running at him and it's like an accident. But to have Ed be the one who stabs him and then like give him like a face and push him out a window, I'm like, all right, that seems a little bit, I mean, it's nearing the end, so it doesn't ruin it completely for me, but it feels a little disconnected from the characters we know.
But then Kim still stands up for him, and I think that part of my criticism of the movie is definitely that I just don't get the romance between them, and so that leads into
and then I get like she now cares about him, and maybe there is like a romance there, but then she pulls out the L-bomb. But in my mind, I think it's because they know he'll never be allowed to go back into society and they're not going to see each other again, so she kind of like says that at that moment. I don't know if she was really in love with him.
No. I don't. A lot of people, I feel like, for this movie, like to put these two characters as this crazy romantic love. But when you really watch the movie, I feel like it's more like, almost like she feels for him, almost like more family love. Even though she kisses him and stuff like that. Yeah. But I feel like it's more of like, I feel for him and I love what he represents.
I guess so, yeah.
But it does play a little too hard on the romantic aspect, which I don't think was ever there.
No.
Wait, so what does he represent?
Innocence. I think he represents exactly the opposite of what she's been brought into. Her entire community.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like everyone in that
different.
town is kind of self-centered.
Yeah.
All right.
He's the only one that shows any type of like compassion or besides her mom.
Yeah.
But he's the
And he's-
opposite of everything
And
that
he's
that town
creative.
stands for.
Everything in that town is like cookie
Yeah,
cutter.
okay.
And he has like a little bit of creativity, which is
He's
kind of
just
nice.
the outcast for being
Yeah.
different. And she sees this and she's like, we created this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we created this innocence and then we made it bad. It's almost like that's also a little bit how I can get like, oh, he turned a little evil because the town made him that way. Time to like retreat and go back to himself.
Yeah.
But that's I think why she also doesn't go up to him at the end. Why she doesn't visit him, not just because she was getting older, as she says later, but it's because she doesn't want to bring that back. Let him live in peace.
Yeah, I guess
Even though
there
as
is
sad
that.
as it is.
Yeah, but like, so she like grabs one of the scissors and she's like, he's dead. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. I'm like, well, the police have to investigate. I hope he has a hiding spot. But yeah, then it cuts to the future and she's all like, yup. And I never saw him again. And then the girl's just like, what was the deal with the horny lady? What the fuck? And
What happened to her?
And by the way, Winona Ryder, old Kim, is wrapping up the story. It's like, yeah, I never saw him again. And the girl's like, yeah, so what about the snow? What about the snow? I don't... It reminds me of the video of that crazy guy from years ago where the girl in the street, it's in Canada. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Where the girl's like, what is your name? And the guy just goes on those rants. He rips off his shirts. He's like, I'm going to go to Waterloo where the vampires are. And it's like, all she asks is, what is your name? Yeah. This is what the grandmother did. Where does snow come from? I'm like, all right, well, buckle up. There's going to be several Tom Jones songs in this story.
God. How many times do you think she's told us? Like she just like goes out or like a family party as well. This one time. Oh, where does the trees come from? Well,
yeah,
town.
I have a different story.
I got a story for you.
It starts out with scissors.
Watch it be like a different character.
Yeah, it's old
like,
Jimmy Chainsaw Arms.
Yes!
That's what we called him. A different inventor made him. He lived on the other creepy hill. It's like, oh, how many fucking creepy hills are in this town? But no, she tells her like, well, before that, it never snowed. And after that, it snows all the time. And now Edward in his attic has multiple ice sculptures. Where is he getting them? I don't know. You know what? I'll settle for like there's a machine in that place that makes the ice sculptures, but how does he get them up the goddamn stairs is what I want to know. The idea is that he is making ice sculptures and the shredding from the sculptures are going out into the town. And
doesn't make much logical sense, but it is absolutely beautiful.
It is a fairy
It's
tale world, so it
beautiful.
doesn't have to make that much logical sense. And there's like the nice ending with the music, and then teenage girls cry. And then teenage Tony is like, oh my God, that's literally me. And then Kaylee just gives the movie the finger. But yeah, overall, I think the movie's fine. It's kind of a Christmas movie toward the end. I'm glad I picked it as my Christmas episode. I still think it holds up. Maybe because I relate to it again. Maybe there's some personal stuff going on here. But no, I think it's probably one of Tim Burton's best films.
I agree. I definitely still get emotional at the end. Just not like crying or anything, but heartfelt. Definitely like a little bit of a teary eye or something like that. Because I just feel so bad because you see him at the end all like doing his thing, but also he didn't want to be isolated. Like you just feel for this character on so many different levels.
Like
as
he
just a
didn't want
human.
to be a loser that hangs
No,
out in
he
his
didn't
house all
ask for
day
this.
working on his work.
Exactly.
Fuck, I do relate to this guy. But that's where he ended up being.
But I think a lot of people can really relate to this. I think it's such a relatable character, even if he's not human, but it's more relatable than almost any of the other townspeople.
Yeah.
So you feel for him.
Yeah. I think it holds up. Kaylee, you still hate it.
I still hate it. I don't know that I have a good
Even
reason.
though it feels like you like it.
I don't know that I have a good reason for hating it. So
It feels like you liked a lot of things in
I
it.
can
You hated
say,
the ending.
yeah, like I hated the ending. I hated the aesthetic.
No, I agree. The
Like,
ending, and I think I
yeah.
actually watched like an old Siskel and Ebert where even they were criticizing the whole like killing the bad guy. It's like I don't think the story needed that, but keep going.
No.
I don't know that there's anything specific that I don't like. Like I agree. It does seem like I liked a bunch of the different parts of it. Like there were was quite a few things that I was like, yeah, that was great. But I just don't like it. It doesn't do it for me.
I can get that. It is a weird fucking story.
Yeah. I feel like there are movies that do this sort of surrealism better. I feel like there are movies that do like the consumerism aspect better. I feel like there are movies that do the identity crisis
Does
aspect
RoboCop
better.
do this better?
I fucking love RoboCop.
Listen. I love both those movies. If I had to be on a desert island and only have one, it's going to be close, but I'm probably going to go RoboCop.
Not even a question.
RoboCop does play with the consumerism and then a robot man and trying to be human. There's a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, having those like, if I'm going to pick a movie that has these themes, that has like an emotional spot in my heart, it's not going to be this one.
Yeah. RoboCop though is also a little bit more realistic. Like this is definitely fairy tale imagination to where I feel like you do need to be in a certain mood.
Yes.
Like you can't just put this on and be like, oh, you know, for me it's my kind of vibe, but for a lot of other people it's just not it.
I don't know if you guys have movies on a rotation that you use to help go to sleep. This is one of mine. What?
Oh. I literally fall asleep to the Halloween music. Like
I fall asleep to John Carpenter music.
Yes, that's what it is. I bought the vinyl. You bought the vinyl. I bought the vinyl.
No, I got Escape from New York.
So good.
No, like it's like this. What's the other one? Blade Runner is another one because the music's all nice. There's a few that I like use. I'm like, I need to go to sleep. I need a movie I've seen a million times that I don't have to pay attention to. This is one of them. Yeah. But anyway, that was the Christmas episode. We went on for a while, by the way. Where can we find you?
At Once Over with Kaylee, which is spelled Cayley on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where else can we find you?
Also on Who Are These Podcasts every Wednesday night.
Where you have a different name.
Lucy Tightbox.
What? That's awesome.
Thank you.
And by the way, at the time of this recording, you've become a regular member.
I am.
You used to just do the segment at the end, but now you're a regular member, unless this airs and you've been fired.
It's entirely possible.
It's entirely possible. But I really love that you're now a regular member because you plug the show a lot. I really.
That's actually the whole reason that I asked to join.
Talking
much like Peg and Edward Scissorhands. Like I'm like, oh yeah, she's great. Talk about the show some more.
I'm like, yay, a hot, awesome, fun co-host I can have fun with, and like he's like exploitation. Yeah. Like, God,
I would like to point out that I brought up Hack the Movies 2 times on this past Wednesday episode.
At the time of this recording, I'm sure you've brought it up more
a million times.
Even if you're not in an episode for months, you should just say the words "hack the movie."
Just randomly.
Oh, by the way, hack the movies. I'm not on it.
Hack the movies.
She just wears nothing but Hack the Movies t-shirts.
Yeah, if you gave me some t-shirts, I would wear them.
Oh, please don't. No.
Well, you're screwed then.
I could give you the one I'm wearing. It's an extra large, probably a little baggy on you.
As long as she doesn't wear the...
They expect me to show boobs on that show. That's the only reason that I keep getting invited back. It needs to be very tight and very low cut.
I don't know if the boobs are out enough last week. It's probably just the problem. But she's here to make up for that. Yeah, she's here.
You get invited to Who Are These Podcasts? I don't get invites onto the show.
Because you don't got tits.
Yeah, if you were wearing booby shirts.
Wear the booby shirt.
I'll do my best. Yeah. I'll do my best. I don't know what to tell you.
As long as you don't give her the shirt with your face on it.
Crystal, don't you have merch? Do you have an online store yet?
Hopefully by the time this comes out, I do.
Well, if you see Crystal at a convention, she sometimes has shirts and pins. I found my pin. That was my birthday gift. Thank you.
Yeah. My birthday's tomorrow. But it's way past once this episode comes out.
So wish Crystal a happy birthday.
Belated.
Merry Christmas and Hanukkah or whatever. How do you feel about Edward Scissorhands? Were you also a loser who loved it, or were you like a cool guy who couldn't relate? Let us know. That's it. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, who's next? Tony from Hack the Movie. Nope, not doing one for Tony Hack the Movies. Nope. Sorry, no. Not doing him. Why? Maybe because the guy is pretending to be Italian to get all the benefits? No. He's a fake Italian. I'm not wishing him a Merry Christmas. No Buon Natale for Tony. Nope. Nope. Fake Italian. Show me your birth certificate, Tony. Show it. Okay, that's the deal. Tony from Hack the Movie shows me a birth certificate proving he's Italian. Then I'll do a cameo for him for Christmas. Then I will wish Tony from Hack the Movies Buon Natale. Till then, Fanculo. Stugaz. Merry Christmas.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.
Talking about tapes.